After a bit of a slow start to their 2021 campaign, the Harwich Mariners have pulled a full 180 and entered tonight's game with the Orleans Firebirds with an opportunity to claim a share of the second place in the CCBL's Eastern Division. The Mariners are 5-1-1 over the course of the last 7 games, in stark contrast to Orleans, who enter at 1-5-1 after a hot start that saw the team atop the East after a week and a half of play. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the broadcast booth here at White House Field. I'm Tyler Henry, joined this evening by my broadcast partner, Tim Foley, and tonight, Tim, we have a battle on our hands that could see the Mariners get some much-needed momentum in a much-needed off day. Every game in a 40-game season feels important, but this one feels like it might hold some extra weight for the Mariners, trying to keep that streak going into tomorrow.
Certainly, as you have the off day going on tomorrow for Harwich, you're looking for your first winning streak of the season. They have not yet won 3 games in a row. This is a chance to do so against a skidding Orleans team, create some separation between yourself and the bottom of the division, and keep it rolling. I mean, you still have to keep pace with the guys at the top of the division in YD and Brewster. You have a chance to tie YD, who's off today, in points. So that'd be pretty big for momentum for this team going out of tomorrow's off day.
Yep, tonight's meeting between Eastern Division rivals also features an excellent pitching matchup between Trey Dombrowski starting on the hill for the Mariners, opposite Vanderbilt product Patrick Riley, who will make his 2021 CCBL debut tonight against a Mariners lineup that has really been clicking as of late, and we can expect to see a lot of strikeouts tonight. I think that is the scouting report between these two guys. Expect potentially a quick one here at White House Field.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if Trey Dombrowski is anything of what we've seen from him his past few outings, then we're certainly going to see an excellent production from him. And for Riley on the mound for Orleans, this will be his first appearance in a Firebirds uniform. But you mentioned it, Vanderbilt product coming out of the SEC. They're always going to be good down there in Nashville. So definitely going to be interesting to see how he's able to perform tonight in the Cape.
So with that, we're just moments away from first pitch. That'll give us an opportunity to take a look here at the Orleans Firebirds lineup today. Leading it off, second baseman Peyton Chatagnier, followed by DH Luke Keyshaw, right fielder Julio Marcano, and center fielder Chase DeLauder, your cleanup man for Orleans today. In the 5-hole, it'll be left fielder Jack Bolger, third baseman Corey Acton, the former Harwich Mariner, bats 6th, and then first baseman Trey Harmer, catcher Justin Mickness, and shortstop Ben Blackwell round out your lineup for the Firebirds this afternoon. First pitch from Trey Dombrowski misses just off the plate. This is just Trey's second start, his 4th appearance here for the Harwich Mariners, but he has really been turning it on here as of late as the lefty from Monmouth kicks and fires a ball that's fouled away back to the screen here. Count goes 1-1. And of course for Dombrowski, talking about his most recent outing, and it was an absolute gem. 7 innings pitched, the longest start on the Cape so far this season. He gave up just 3 runs, 2 of them earned on 6 hits, and the big number, Tim, 9 strikeouts, only 1 walk.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see as an efficient a start all season long the rest of the way.
And here he gets a swing and a miss, and that's exactly what he does. Just working very quickly, pounding the strike zone, and when he gets up on a batter like this, it can be awfully tough for a guy to bounce back. Peyton Chatagnier will have to try to do that here for a bit of a floundering Orleans lineup. Mentioned 1-5-1 in the team's last 7 games. Dombrowski from the windup, the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And he starts right where he left off against YD. It's a K in the scorebook, 1 away here for Luke Keyshaw.
Blows it by him at 87 miles per hour, and that's what Dombrowski does. He has a really nice put-away pitch. We've seen it in each of his outings to this point, and already flashing it here tonight.
So let's go ahead and set the defense that'll be behind the aforementioned starter on the hill and Trey Dombrowski. Tatum Levens gets the start behind the dish. Carter Putz at first, Hal Hughes at second, Zach Preisner at third, or short correction, and Brock Wilkin at third. As the first pitch to Keyshaw misses up and out. Your outfield looks like this. Press Kavanaugh gets the start out in left, Chris Newell in center, and Jordan Beck is your starting right fielder today for the Harwich Mariners. Dombrowski waiting on the bump. Time is called, and then taken back as the 1-0 is in there for a called strike, says home plate umpire Bill Giuili. Mickey Garcia is your third base umpire today. Mike Rabideau over at first, and Bill Giuili calling balls and strikes behind the plate. Late swing here from Keyshaw, and he falls behind 1-2. And Tim, back-to-back batters down 1-2. We'll see what Dombrowski has in store here.
We certainly will. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to go fastball to try and get it by him. He's been aggressive every time we've seen him.
From the windup, the 1-2. This time comes off speed, tipped foul. Count stays at 1-2, and that'll be an excellent opportunity for us to remind you what Trey Dombrowski has to work with in his toolkit. 4-pitch guy, fastball, changeup, slider, cutter. One of those, not quite the classic 4-pitch guy, does not sport the curveball. But that cut fastball has been nasty this year. The 1-2. And that is just low. Count even at 2 apiece.
Yeah, it was a good-looking pitch, but just not able to get the call in favor as the count now evens out.
Of course, at this point, between 2019 and 2021, a lot of familiar umpires, but Julie not one that, at least for me personally, I've seen quite as much. As this ball is taken down the third base line, Wilkin gloves it, steps, fires across in time for the second out of the inning. So far, so good, as Julio Marcano will stride to the plate.
Nice job over there by Wilkin. I mean, that ball hit pretty tightly along that third base line, so Wilkin, a guy who's got a pretty good arm, standing over at third, able to launch that one over really no issues.
Marcano out of Katy, Texas, from New Jersey Tech, has actually been joined here on the Cape by his brother David. He is right now seeing the better end of the offensive work, hitting about 205 as this first pitch will miss for ball 1. And Dombrowski gets back to work, but this is an Orleans lineup that looked pretty good early this season, have not looked nearly as good as of late. And I don't know how much of it's being picked up by our camera right now, but there's actually a fog settling in kind of over the field as we speak, blowing across the field from right to left. And it is really starting to affect visibility. Hard to see the outfielders from where we're sitting. And just as I say that, a ball taken out in the right field. Jordan Beck will track it back, settles under it, looks up, and makes the catch for out number 3. So a quick 3 up, 3 down here for Trey Dombrowski. We will step away, and when we come back, it'll be Harwich up to bat here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. And the Harwich Mariners, after a quick 1-2-3 inning, looking to do what they've done very well over the course of the last week or so, and that's get on the scoreboard first. Let's take a look at the starting lineup here for the Harwich Mariners. Leading things off, it'll be catcher Tatum Levens, followed by center fielder Chris Newell, third baseman Brock Wilkin, and first baseman Carter Putz in the cleanup spot today. Batting fifth, DH Josh Hood, fresh off of a phenomenal performance yesterday. Press Kavanaugh plays out in left, followed by right fielder Jordan Beck, shortstop Zach Preisner, and second baseman Hal Hughes, rounding out the Harwich Mariners lineup today. Mentioned we will have a new pitcher for the season in Patrick Riley, the Vanderbilt product, finally arriving here to Orleans after the College World Series playoff, and be interesting to see what he has in store. What are you expecting to see out of him here in his in his Orleans debut here on the Cape?
Well, you want to see him be confident early. It's tough to come into a new league, especially when you're facing against a Harwich team that has been on a tear as of late. So be confident in your stuff, understand who you are as a pitcher and what it is that's gotten you to this point in your career, and just have faith in what you can throw.
So again, as mentioned, Tatum Levens, Chris Newell, and Brock Wilkin to lead things off here for the Mariners as this fog has settled in, and it has settled in thick. It is even more difficult than what I mentioned before to see the outfielders from where we're sitting. Of course, the light's already on here, and this has kind of been a persistent issue throughout the course of the season. A lot of fog, a lot of visibility issues, a lot of rain, and a lot of mist, as the first pitch is a fastball up and in for strike 1 to Tatum Levens.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a nice clear day, it feels. A couple weeks, certainly, which is unfortunate because the Cape will have time called here for visibility.
And it looks like we're going to have this fog for the next couple of hours. That coming in from our chief meteorologist, Colin Casey, sitting right behind me. So an 0-1 count to Tatum Levens. Here comes the pitch. That'll miss up and in. Similar spot, different result. And one thing we see right away here, Tim, 95 on the radar gun from Patrick Riley. The kid's got some heat.
Certainly does. And, that's definitely going to be a big help. You want to blow by these Harwich bats.
1-1 on the way. This one will be in there for a called strike, this time at 81 and right around the knees. So doing a good job mixing up spots as well.
Exactly. That 95 is even more effective. When you have a good 80, you can counteract it with.
See what he wants to go with here, the 1-2. And it looked like he pulled that a little bit. Did not look comfortable coming off the mound with that pitch. And again, I don't mean to go back to the same well too many times. This fog is something. And at this point, we're struggling to see the scoreboard out there in right field. So we'll see if this is able to continue. So far, so good here at White House Field through 1/2 inning of play. This one swung on and taken high in the air and foul as the count stays here at 2-2 on Tatum Levens.
I don't know how any outfielder can be expected to read a pop fly. If you think about that, you look in the sky, you really don't have a read on anything out there.
Well, when you talk about, I mean, again, if you're on the road, you don't want to turn your headlights on, as Levens will foul this one away. You don't want to turn your headlights on if there's fog. It's kind of the same deal right now. I mean, the lights are on, but I'm not sure if that's helping or hurting, and now time is going to be called. And this may be the conversation that the umpires are going to have here is, can play continue with the fog coming in as thick as it is? Of course, here at White House, there are lights, so they could wait for this to clear off. But as Colin Casey mentioned to us before this, I mean, we just don't know how much longer that might be for.
No, we certainly don't know, and that's something the umpires are talking about right now as to what their next move might be. I don't know if they're going to try and look at a radar or anything.
A little bit more challenging to look at a radar for fog than it is for rain. Obviously, the similar concept, but looks like for now, we are going to have a brief fog delay. Tatum Levens, I think, is trying to argue that he can see out to right field, but I don't think that's going to be enough to convince Bill Julie, and that will, in fact, be the call. So we are in a fog delay. We will come back when we can see. I guess we'll say that. So we will be right back after this here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Well, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us through the first fog delay of the 2021 season, as we are set to resume baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry and Tim Foley bringing you this one as we set for the home half of inning number 1. Still looking at the first batter. It's Tatum Levens, and when play resumes here, he will have a 2-2 count on him. And I know we've only seen 4 or 5 pitches out of him, but Patrick Riley has shown some really good stuff here. The freshman out of Vanderbilt here making his debut in the CCBL.
Yeah, I mean, I like what he's got going. You said 95 he's been throwing, and he's got a good changeup as well, able to drop it down low 80s, high 70s. So whenever you have that stark of a contrast with a guy who has the kind of control he's exhibited so far, then it should make for an interesting start here for Riley.
Yep, and we'll see if the Mariners can keep those bats hot. Again, they have done an excellent job. And the crazy thing is, while they have hit well, it's not like they've blown anybody out. I believe during this winning streak in which they are 5-1-1, I think they only have a run differential of something like +8. But it's been good enough for them to get the victories, and seeing them win those close games, that's really what brings you together as a team. So Harwich looking to pick up where they left off. Tatum Levens standing in the box right now, certainly a candidate for our Harwich Mariners Player of the Week, potentially. We'll have that award posted tomorrow, as well as the Pitcher of the Week. The 2-2 on the way. This one fouled off again, and Levens wasting no time here, fouling off another pitch as the count stays at 2-2, and there's enough fog off the field now that we can resume baseball. Just to set the defense here for the Orleans Firebirds, as a swing and a miss will send Tatum Levens packing. That is strikeout number 1 on the day for Patrick Riley. So Riley out there is your pitcher. Justin Mickness is your starting catcher today from Kent State. Harmon gets the start at first. Shadiang at second. Blackwell at short. Acton, former Mariner Corey Acton, your starting third baseman today for Orleans. Out in left field, it will be Jack Bolger, Chase DeLauder in center, and Julio Marcano gets the start out in right. At the dish now, it's Chris Newell, the center fielder for the Harwich Mariners today, standing in from the left side. First pitch on the way. He squares to bunt, lays down a beauty down the third base line. It's picked up. The throw is on the way. It's going to get past him, and Newell's going to go ahead and turn for second. It wasn't backed up fast enough, and Chris Newell is safe at second base. Call it a bunt single, and he reaches second base on an error. Chris Newell with some heads-up base running, and really just a lazy backup there by Julio Marcano, who took his sweet, sweet time coming in from right field. And just like that, the Mariners have a runner in scoring position here with 1 out.
Yeah, and I think Newell, he benefited a bit on the bounce it took off the fence. Took kind of a weird bounce. Didn't really head right in the direction of Marcano, so it gave Newell some more time to head down to second. Lucky break there, but a beautifully placed bunt to kick it all off. A tough play for Riley to have to make coming off the mound, and then throwing it down to first just behind Newell as he was heading down to the bag. Heads up at bat there from the center fielder.
And that is a bit of a freshman mistake, if you want to call it that, out of Patrick Riley, who bounces back with a called strike 1 here to Brock Wilkin. So Wilkin the batter now. Harwich again trying to make something of this. They've done a good job when they've gotten themselves into these positions throughout the course of this winning streak, capitalizing. We've really seen that left on base number drop pretty drastically here for the Mariners over the last week or so. Here's the 0-1 to Wilkin, and he will take a big cut at a fastball up and out to fall behind 0-2.
Yeah, this was a Harwich team that to start the season was one of the worst when it came to leaving runners on the bases. They just could not drive guys around for the life of them. So to see them doing it now, it really is a good sign for this team to finally get their offense going in a groove.
Yep, it's been 5 or 6 games since we've seen a double-digit number in the left on base column. That last one coming in a heavy fog game against YD, as we've got time called here. And we will stop and reset. So Wilkin steps out of the box, steps back into the box. One of the hottest hitters in the CCBL. I believe they've only given out 3 Player of the Week awards for the league. Brock Wilkin has won it twice already. Not bad for a guy who just turned 19 before coming here. But here he will take called strike 3. Looked a bit outside, but the ruling is strike 3. And Wilkin sent packing, the second strikeout of the day here for Patrick Riley.
That's good for Riley. I mean, you have the bunt, of course, that was given up, but he's gotten 2 strikeouts, both looking. That means these Harwich batters, they're not really liking what they're seeing, but they don't want to swing at it. They're trying to leave it on the outside, but really nice placement from Riley.
This is a Harwich team, again, that does pride themselves on being patient. Team that led the league in walks coming into this winning streak, and now they're starting to hit the ball well as well. Carter Putz at the plate right now, the RBI machine, standing in for the Harwich Mariners. Pitch on the way. This one swung on and popped a mile high. This one drifting into foul territory. It'll chase Harmon over, but he's able to settle under it and make the catch for out number 3. So some antics get Chris Newell to second base, but that's all the further he will go as we are through 1. Still no score here from White House Field here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back here at White House Field. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley as we get set for the top of the 2nd inning. Another inning of work coming up here for Trey Dombrowski. And obviously, it's one of those stats that means absolutely nothing, and it's completely skewed, but it is kind of fun here. I think Tatum Levens just had one of the longest at-bats in the CCBL this season. As if you consider the 12 to 15-minute fog delay, and then came back and was retired on a strikeout. Levens did a good job of battling for quite some time, with Mother Nature giving him a little assist.
Yeah, a bit of a standstill, if you will, as both pitcher and batter refused to budge for quite some time.
So it'll be the heart of the order due up here for Orleans. Chase DeLauder, Jack Bolger, and Corey Acton due up next. First pitch from Dombrowski on the way. That one is just off the outside part of the plate, 75 miles an hour. A stark contrast, as you mentioned, Tim, to his fastball. And he falls behind here 1-0. Chase DeLauder's been handling cleanup duties for Orleans for a majority of this season. He'll watch this one for ball 2. And he has some solid numbers to back it up. One of the few guys on the roster, matter of fact, the only guy on the roster hitting 232 to be hitting 300 or higher, as he is right at that mark. Also leads the team with 18 hits. Just one off the lead mark with 13 RBIs. But the one number that really pops off the page to you here, 6 home runs on a team that has 17. He is the leader in that category as well.
Yeah, he's been excellent for Orleans, and ever since the departure of a couple of these guys.
As this one's going to be chopped to first. Good job picking it out there by Putz, who will take it himself to the bag. Steps on it in time for the quick out.
Just to wrap up that point, DeLauder's really been one of the only guys for this Orleans team ever since they've had some departures to the draft, as well as Team USA, that has been able to consistently produce. So this back half of the lineup, a couple new guys, a couple guys still looking for their first hits of the season. Orleans is kind of at a reset point where they're trying to figure out what exactly it is that they have on their roster.
Yeah, and Orleans, one of the teams that actually lost fewer guys than others to the MLB draft throughout the last couple of days. As this first pitch will miss up and out to Jack Bolger. So they are fortunate in that regard. They'll have a lot of the same guys, but without that turnover, they've got to get the guys that they have here going. As Bolger takes a swing and a miss at the next pitch, that one up and away. Count goes to 1-1.
I believe this is a guy who is in his first game in Bolger.
Yep, couple of guys making their debut here for Orleans as this one swung on and tipped back to the screen. Count goes to 1-2. One of those guys that's still looking for his first hit in the CCBL this season is Corey Acton, who spent a stint with the Harwich Mariners early on this year. He stands on deck as Bolger will take strike 2, and a good bounce back pitch there for Trey Dombrowski. Now he's on the doorstep of finishing off Bolger for his second strikeout. The Monmouth product peers in for the sign. From the windup, here comes the pitch. And he gets a foul and a tip back to the screen. Count stays at 2 apiece. Again, Trey Dombrowski brought in as a bit of a long reliever for Harwich. He's settled into a spot in the rotation here, making his second start of the season. The 2-2 swung on and taken out to right field. Jordan Beck will take about 2.5 steps back, settles under it, and makes the catch for out number 2.
And it's important he's able to make that catch because it tells you that the guys in the outfield can still see the ball because the fog is rolling back in a little bit here. We did have an inclination that perhaps it'll be back around 7, and here we are. So it'll be interesting to see how the weather continues to be a factor throughout this evening.
Yeah, this is not nearly as bad as it was during the delay. As the first pitch to Corey Acton is a fastball that'll miss up. Acton back on the field here at White House, but for the first time, he will do it wearing a Orleans Firebirds jersey. Again, still looking for his first hit of the CCBL season, the 1-0. And that'll miss up, so the count goes to 2-0 here on Acton.
It's got to be interesting for Acton. You played the 2019 season with this Harwich team, and then you come back 2021, start the year. Now you're in a different jersey.
He'll take a wave at the 2-0. Cuts underneath. Count goes to 2-1. There's something about these Harwich guys when they leave the team, the ones that stick around on the Cape, there's this weird direct pipeline that goes right to Orleans. I don't know what it is, but this is the third player in 2 seasons to go from Harwich to Orleans, as Acton will foul this one away. Count goes to 2-2. Of course, back in 2019, Jacob Hurtubise was with the Harwich Mariners, left, and ended up in the Orleans Firebirds red and white. Same could be said of a guy that bounced around to a couple of different Cape League teams. Riley Tirada went from YD to Harwich to Orleans. And now Corey Acton becomes the third. As the 2-2 is on its way, Acton will leave that outside. And it's a full count worked here by Trey Dombrowski.
And part of me wants to believe that trend is largely because these East teams, and particularly for the West as well in their own right, you know, you get more looks at the guys within your own division.
Certainly could be, as Acton fouls this back to the screen.
So you get the scouting report, you talk to your guys, your coaches, see who you like, and you keep tabs on guys because you never know who's going to leave and end up being looking for another roster spot on the Cape.
Yep, and a couple of guys that have found a lot of success elsewhere, as Acton will line this one to center field, goes into the fog, but Chris Newell will settle under it and make the catch for out number 3. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Trey Dombrowski, still 0-0 here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley as we get set for the home half of inning number 2. It'll be Josh Hood, Press Kavanaugh, and Jordan Beck due up here for the Mariners, getting their first look at Patrick Riley. So far, smooth sailing for the most part. The only thing that Riley's given up was a bunt single to Chris Newell, who reached second base thanks to an error. But aside from that, he has had pretty good command of his stuff. 2 strikeouts early on here, and looking to continue that here in the second inning against the heart of the Mariners order.
And I kind of like the mind games you have from head coach Steve Engler. Second guy up in the inning in the bottom of the first, and you have him lay down a bunt, try to throw this pitcher right off of his groove from the get-go. We'll see how the Mariners try to approach Riley in this second inning of work.
I mean, it's a good idea. You got to think, this guy comes in, he knows this is one of the most competitive leagues in the nation, the most competitive league in the nation. As the first pitch is fouled away here by Josh Hood. He's not focusing on a guy laying down the bunt with nobody on base in the first inning. I mean, there's no way that's something that's going through his mind. And clearly it caught him off guard as he kind of had that oh crap moment before chasing the ball down. As strike 2 taken by Josh Hood, who falls behind 0-2.
Yeah, but clearly hasn't affected him here so far in this at-bat. Ahead 0-2, nice 95 to get ahead and stay ahead.
Yep, and with that, Josh Hood will call for a time really briefly here, just wants a moment to think this over. Hood seeing the ball incredibly well yesterday. Pretty good day, I would say, for Josh Hood. Gets drafted by the Boston Red Sox in the afternoon. Comes back and shows up at the ballpark to play a game for the Harwich Mariners in which he goes 2 for 4 with a home run and a 2 RBI single. Here trying to fend off a 1-2 pitch. That'll miss down and away. Count even at 2-2.
Yeah, certainly the best game he's had, especially he had some success at the start of the season, went in a bit of a drought, but really good to see him bounce back and have a huge game on what was ultimately a really big day for him.
2-2 on the way. This one swung on and taken into foul territory, drifting down the right field line to the fence, and just running out of room is Harmon, the first baseman. Good job giving it a look there, but it'll drop out of play, and the count stays 2-2 here on Josh Hood.
Yeah, Trey Harmon, 6'4". He had a pretty good reach over that fence. It was really just inches away from his glove.
Yep, very close to an out. Instead, another pitch comes in. Another pitch is fouled away here. These are the long at-bats that we've seen, kind of a hallmark of the Harwich Mariners 2021 campaign. And one thing we know, you're not going to get a strikeout very easily here. After back-to-back foul pitches, one in the dirt here and left there by Hood. So the count goes full here, 3-2. Patrick Riley, payoff pitch, and that is in there for a called strike 3. Josh Hood, the first out of the inning, and that is strikeout number 3 on the day here for Patrick Riley.
And all three of them looking. Riley is giving these Mariners batters pitches that they're expecting one thing and they're getting something completely different. Harwich can't really get a read on these put-away pitches at this point.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Patrick Riley. Again, the freshman out of Vanderbilt. As Press Kavanaugh comes to the plate, he'll have an opportunity to face a left-handed batter here. And the first pitch is on the way. That'll miss low for ball 1. He was actually used almost exclusively out of the bullpen early on in the season, but he slotted into that rotation. Of course, he didn't get the same kind of attention when you're talking about names like Leiter and Rocker ahead of you, but he is kind of one of those guys that will be expected to be part of the rotation going forward for a Vanderbilt team that is a perennial contender in that College World Series. So, you know, looking for a bounce-back year. Not really a bounce-back year, but looking to maybe finish up some business are the Commodores, as this one's fouled away. That'll make the count 2-1, and clearly Patrick Riley is a part of their plans. So what better place to kind of test yourself against the top talent in the country as a starting pitcher and kind of work out of the bullpen? That's exactly what they have Patrick Riley doing here, getting his first start.
Yeah, it's really, you know, a statement whenever you come from a school like that and you're expected to go to a summer league and perform.
2-1, swung on, fouled away. This one straight over the press box, and it's an even 2-2 count here on Press Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, another one of those guys that's been a bit inconsistent this season, but when he showed up, he has showed up big. Remembering back to that 4 RBI game he had about a week ago, and now time is called again by the home plate umpire.
Had a big game against Chatham the other night as well. Had a very lengthy at-bat that ultimately resulted in a home run.
Here he'll chop one up the middle. Opportunity for this one to get through. It's going to be a lollipop toss back to first. That's not going to be nearly in time. And I think that was more Blackwell coming, or correction, Shattenek coming over from second and just kind of eating the throw there. He still threw to first base, but he wasn't going to try to force something. So Press Kavanaugh reaches on an infield single here for Jordan Beck.
Yeah, ball hit like that, Kavanaugh's going to be able to reach first every day of the week. I mean, that was a slow chopper up the middle. Tough for either middle infielder to get there with enough time to make the throw. Yeah,
no chance of that getting into the outfield grass, but as you mentioned, by the time somebody comes over and gets that into their glove, there's no way you're going to be able to make that play at first base. So runner on first here for Jordan Beck, who stands in for his first at-bat. First pitch he sees, he'll leave it up around eye level. And the count's 1-0. Of course, Zach Preisner, the man standing on deck right now, sporting a new number, as he will be wearing Ben Malgiri's number 4 going forward after Malgiri signed on draft day. Next pitch misses outside. Count goes to 2-0, and for the first time, Tim, we really see Patrick Riley fall behind the hitter.
Yeah, we'll see how he responds to it. It's always been these 0-2, 1-2 counts to open up at-bats or getting guys to fly out early, so what's he going to go to here behind?
Probably staying aggressive in the zone. Guys love to swing away on a count like this, the 2-0, and that'll miss up and out. So it's now a 3-0 count here to Jordan Beck, who you have to imagine would probably take this next pitch. But you never know. Still early in the game, and a guy still trying to get his footing here in the CCBL. That's the thing you really want to do if you're Harwich. You do not want to let Patrick Riley settle into a groove and get comfortable here. As his 3-0 pitch is right down the pipe for strike 1, it'll be 3-1.
Yeah, just placed up high at 91 miles an hour. Beck lays off of it. I'm sure he's going to take the shoulder off the bat here, though, and try to let something fly.
Yeah, obviously a lot of velocity on that pitch, but right down the pipe. And now an opportunity for Jordan Beck to take the bat off the shoulder and try to show what he can do here. 3-1. That's going to be in there for a very delayed called strike 2. Looked like it was low, and that's exactly what Jordan Beck thought. He was about to toss the bat back to the dugout. Instead, he'll have to take a moment to collect himself and come back for a full count. Riley fell behind 2-0. He is now battled back to a full count, 3-2. Runner on first here for Harwich. Just one away in the second inning. Here's the payoff pitch. Runner goes, and it's fouled away. We'll do it again.
Yeah, Becky, you got ahead in this count 3-0. You don't want to walk away from this at bat going back to the dugout on a strike 3, whether it be swinging or called. You need to try and get something away from this at bat here as he extends it with another foul ball.
So we'll see here what Riley has in store. Again, a 3 to 4 pitch guy, rising sophomore. He's got a full count, the pitch, and this will miss down and away. So this time it is a walk issued to Jordan Beck, the first walk of the day for either pitcher, and it puts runners on first and second here for newly acquainted number 4, Zach Preisner.
Just quickly, if you're Beck, you're glad to get a break like that. You haven't really been getting on base a whole lot recently, so to be finally get on base can help to generate some momentum for him.
Preisner yesterday was 1 for 3 in the win over Katuitt. He was hit by a pitch and brought in on a walk from Tatum Levens. Just kind of a wild sequence in that inning yesterday, but it allowed Harwich to take a big-time victory over the Kettleers. Right now, runners on first and second for Preisner. See if that new number brings him luck. It's everyone running. It's a hit and run executed to perfection. It'll be picked up, throw to first in time by Blackwell, but everybody moves up a station, and that puts the go-ahead run just 90 feet away with 2 outs for Hal Hughes.
Yeah, beautifully called. You get Kavanaugh to move down to third, Beck to move up to second, and now you have a guy in Hal Hughes looking at bring home a run or two here.
Tim, we saw a couple of hit and runs early in the season. We have seen that used more and more here recently by Coach Steve Engler.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to be a bit more aggressive as the season picks up. He's confident in his guys as he's starting to learn what they're all about, starting to trust their abilities, understand what their capabilities are. So clearly, he likes what he sees in Kavanaugh and Beck and being able to execute that successfully with a guy like Preisner at the plate.
So here comes Hal Hughes trying to drive in the first Harwich run of the day. Patrick Riley from the stretch. This one's going to be swung on and taken to third. It'll be collected there by Corey Acton, who double pumps, throws to first, and it's in time for the out. So the former Mariner will end the inning. Harwich unable to score despite 2 runners in scoring position. To the third inning we go. It'll be the 7, 8, and 9 hole hitters due up for the Firebirds when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. To the third inning we go. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley, Trey Dombrowski out on the bump right now, and so far so good. Dombrowski has faced 6 hitters. He has retired 6 hitters. This is about what we saw in his last start here, Tim. He looks very comfortable in that starting spot, and again, not out of the biggest college in the world, but it doesn't really matter when you're on the Cape. If you can perform, you can perform.
No, exactly, and we're not seeing the same strikeout numbers, at least out of the gate through the first 2 innings, but he's trusting his defense, and his defense is doing a good job to help keep him moving steadily throughout this game. 6 up, 6 down.
Yep, and he will now get the bottom third of the Orleans Firebird order, which will include Trey Harmon, Justin Mickness, and Ben Blackwell. So those are the 3 guys due up here for a Firebirds lineup that has just been having a really rough season at the plate. You're talking about a team that so far this year, at least to this point, is batting just .232 as a team. And if you want another fun stat here, Tim, you're looking at a team that has 17 home runs and 63 RBIs, but You also have to remember, this is a team that hit, I believe, 7 or 8 of those home runs and drove in at least 12 of those RBIs in one game against Brewster. Take that away, and the numbers get even more dismal here for Orleans.
Yeah, you always got to be careful with outliers like that. They can help to skew a story for a season. So this Orleans team is trying to get something going here, but a tough matchup to do that.
Trey Harmon at the plate. First pitch will miss low and inside for ball 1. Harmon, a big presence in that righty's batter's box as he stands in and swings at the next pitch he sees. Takes this one into the gap in left field. That'll get down in front of Kavanaugh. Runner holds at first. So Trey Harmon is the first man aboard here for the Firebirds. Nobody out. And a runner on first for Justin Mickness.
Yeah, that's his first hit as a Firebird. Came in a pinch hitting situation the other day against Falmouth and is now 1 for 2 in his Firebird career.
Yep, there are 3 guys on the roster still looking for their first hit this season. Jack Bolger, who was retired on the F9, his first time up among them, as is Corey Acton. Standing in right now is Justin Mickness. Swing and a miss at the first pitch, the product out of the MAC from Kent State, member of the Golden Flashes. He'll dig in, looking to extend the inning here. Again, Harmon on first. Orleans looking to strike first here. Orleans has had some success, albeit earlier in the season, as Mickness waves at that one and comes up empty. They are 2-0 against the Mariners. Both of those games coming very early in the season, with a lot of different faces in both lineups.
Yeah, these are 2 different teams that faced off at the beginning of the season and that are facing off right now.
So Mickness will take a couple of practice swings, stands back in. Trey Dombrowski working here out of the stretch, brings home the 0-2. That'll miss outside. Mickness leaves it there. And the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes.
I mean, I understand the thought process there. 0-2, you don't want to give anything up too easy over the middle. But Dombrowski, you know, he's got that stuff to go after guys.
Mickness will watch that one just off the outside part of the black. It's strikeout number 2 for Trey Dombrowski, and it's of the looking variety to get the golden flash on 4 pitches.
There you go, able to pick the corner just on that outside. Really nicely placed pitch to record his second strikeout.
Yep, and of course, Justin Mickness had taken 4 walks in his last 2 games, maybe a bit too patient, as the fog beginning to really roll in here for Ben Blackwell. This is kind of what we were expecting earlier, as this ball swung on and taken out towards foul territory. A couple of players drifting over, converging on it, but nobody able to come up with it.
Yeah, the second baseman for Harwich, Hughes, actually overshot that ball. Ran right by it as it dropped behind him.
Well, and again, visibility not exactly ideal here at White House Field at the moment. All that for a strike here. Count will be 0-1 on Ben Blackwell. Again, standing in from the right side. 1 away, runner on first. The pitch. Swing and a miss. And falling behind here, 0-2 is Blackwell.
And we're seeing it again from Dombrowski now, where he's getting ahead in these counts and not looking back. Ahead 0-2 here, trying to get strikeout number 3.
Blackwell, one of those guys that was on a temporary contract, but with all the departures across the Cape due to the draft, that will not help his cause as he swings and misses a pitch in the dirt. There is strikeout number 3 on the day for Dombrowski, and he has set down 8 of the first 9 he's faced. Now he'll see Peyton Chatinier again. So Peyton Chatinier at the dish. Luke Keeschel on deck right now. Orleans trying to extend the inning. Chatinier, another one of those guys that was not on the roster the first time these two met. That'll miss up and away. Actually, correction, they call it strike 1. Count goes to 0-1 here for Dombrowski. Chatinier, another one of those guys that when he's at the plate, good things have happened for Orleans so far this season. Yesterday was the first time in which he did not score a run for the Firebirds whilst being in the lineup.
It's really helpful to have a hand like that who's reliable, as we've mentioned a few times already. not a whole lot of consistency up and down this Firebirds lineup at this point in the season.
Yep, and that's a big part of the reason why they have him in the leadoff spot, is he will rake a pitch into deep left center field, back to the glove there of the left fielder Kavanaugh, who throws in, and it's going to be a stand-up double for Peyton Chatinier. So 2 away, but 2 in scoring position. Harwich had this very same situation in their half of the second inning, and now here in the top of the third, Luke Kieschel will step to the plate with an opportunity to put his team on the board first.
Well, Chatinier, he's stepped up again for Orleans, hitting well in his past couple of games, and in a big spot there, able to help move the runner up to third, putting himself on second. A nice piece of 2-out hitting to that same spot that Trey Harmon had his single out in left center.
So the biggest at bat of the day here for the Orleans Firebirds, Luke Kieschel, who is 0 for 1 with a strikeout to the third, or correction, with a ground out to the third baseman back in the first inning at the plate. Dombrowski's been in a couple of these situations so far this season. He tends to settle in and trust his defense, as this ball is going to be taken out to right field. Should be routine for Beck. Settles under it, makes the catch, and the inning is over. So Orleans threatens but does not score. Still knotted up at 0 here from White House Field. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley as we are set for the home half of inning number 3. It'll be the top of the order. 2 up here for the Harwich Mariners: Tatum Levin, Chris Newell, and Brock Wilkin. And Tim, just getting a report here from Colin Casey that this is not the only game that's had some issues with fog. The game between Brewster and Chatham delayed about 20 to 30 minutes. They are finally underway, but you get the feeling we could see some late finishing times this evening across the entirety of the CCBL.
Yeah, certainly so. And something that stuck out to me, Chatham, we're a bit more familiar with them having these fog delays. One of the first that I've been a part of here in Harwich in recent memory.
Yeah, typically something that happens a little bit more out on the eastern side of things, as the first pitch will miss 11s. Count goes to 1-0. But still able to play baseball here for now. Knock on wood that these conditions remain visible enough for play, as the 1-0 pitch from Riley is roped out into right field. This one's going to chase, will chase Marcano all the way to the fence. He picks it up, throws in. It's a stand-up double to start the inning here for Tatum Levins, who continues to just hit at an absolutely ridiculous clip over the last week. And the Mariners have the go-ahead run in scoring position with nobody out.
Yeah, that now puts him at an 8-game hit streak, Tatum Levins. He's been an absolute monster at the plate. There has been no stopping him. Second time around the lineup, I feel, is when he's got a really good eye for making adjustments. If he flies out or strikes out, second time around, you usually see him have a much more productive at-bat, and another perfect example just then.
Definitely a guy with a big mental whiteboard for all of those notes that he picks up in those first at-bats. So Chris Newell will stand in now. Newell laid a bunt down the third base line, and you see right now Corey Acton is shaded just a bit in, as the first pitch will miss for a ball inside. I would say that I would doubt we'd see Chris Newell do it again. But with that being said, if you bunt the runner over to third, you've got the go-ahead 90 feet away with just 1 out in the inning. That's a pretty good situation to be in if you're Harwich. So I wouldn't put it past Chris Newell to try to square around on one here. Another pitch will miss up and in. Count goes to 2-0. And nobody really holding the runner on at second, which does potentially give Tatum Levins a bit of an extended lead off that bag. Patrick Riley looking for another scoreless inning here in his Cape Cod Baseball League debut for the Orleans Firebirds. His 2-0 pitch will miss in the dirt, and it's a 3-0 count here to Chris Newell.
We've seen this a little bit from Riley, where he'll fall behind quickly in counts. He was able to battle back nicely against Beck to get him to strike out looking. We'll see how he fights back against Newell here.
Newell likely going to keep the bat on the shoulder here with a 3-0 count. Here comes the pitch. And he will. That'll miss well up above his eyes. It's a walk issued to Chris Newell with nobody out. The Harwich Mariners have runners on first and second for Brock Wilkin.
This is a patient Harwich team. This is the Harwich team that knows how to hit balls that they're waiting for in the zone, and they're perfectly showing what they've been doing these past few games in the first two batters here.
Yep, and this is the guy you want at the plate if you're the Harwich Mariners. Brock Wilkin coming into this game hitting a cool .338 on the season. And the other numbers just as good, leading the team in a majority of categories. First pitch to him, misses down and in for ball one here. Leads the team with 22 hits, 6 doubles, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs. And now, the conversation's going to be had here as Justin Mickness will come out to the bump and have a word with his pitcher. Tim, you also wonder if Patrick Riley may be on a pitch count here today, as this is his starting debut here in the Cape League. Not 100% sure when the last time he made a full start would have been.
Yeah, you think about how long ago Vanderbilt played and how long ago Riley himself may have had a start. You certainly don't want to throw him too much, as there is some arms stretching out in that Firebirds bullpen.
So the 1-0, we'll see if he's settled in here. The answer to that question is no. Pitch in the dirt here makes it a 2-0 count on Brock Wilkin. And things aren't going to get a whole lot easier. You got Carter Putz, who is second on the team in RBIs, due up next. You've got Josh Hood after him with the 3 RBI performance yesterday. And then Press Kavanaugh, who's had a couple of big games recently. So this is big. You got to find a way to come back and at the very least find a way to get Wilkin here. Middle infield, the double play depth. Brock Wilkin ready to do what he does best. And he will chop a ball at the first baseman. They'll turn, go back to second for one. The turn back to first. It is in time. So the rare 3-6-1 double play. It will move the go-ahead up to third base here, but that is just what the doctor ordered for Patrick Riley.
Most certainly. And if you're Harwich, you're glad, of course, you have the go-ahead run now standing on third, but tough to lose 2 outs like that. In a double play situation that was really well overturned by Orleans.
Another RBI situation coming up here for Carter Putz. Putz had an RBI single in yesterday's win over Katuitt. Did not have an RBI the day before that. Had an RBI against the Whitecaps, as he'll watch this first pitch miss in the dirt. Go back a few more games. He had an RBI against the Whitey Red Sox. So again, a guy that's been in the cleanup spot for a very good reason so far this year. Trying to give the Mariners the lead. Riley's been playing around with the zone a little bit. Has not been attacking it the way he did early. He puts one in the zone, and this one's going to be taken out into right center field, dropping fast, but not fast enough, as Marcano gloves it for out number 3, and the inning is over. So, after 3, still no score from White House Field. We'll take a break. When we come back, Orleans back up to bat here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network as we get set for the 4th inning of play. It'll be the 3, 4, and 5-hole hitters due up here for the Orleans Firebirds. Julio Marcano, Chase DeLauder, and Jack Bolger. Your 3 due up here for Orleans. And so far, not a lot of offense. Trey Dombrowski has seen to that, similar to what we saw Dombrowski do against the YD Red Sox, both in his big relief outing on the road and in his home starting debut. He has looked very good so far this season. So again, he'll get Marcano, DeLauder, and Bolger. 3 up here for Orleans. And it's been about what we projected here early on, and we thought this would likely be a pitcher's duel, and that's exactly what we've been treated to here in this one. So Marcano digs in 0 for 1. He flew out to right his first time up on a soft line drive. Pitch on the way, in there for a called strike, and it'll be an 0-1 count. Next pitch, this one in there for a strike as well, and it's 0-2.
Dombrowski right back at it, attacking the zone.
Yep, really not wasting any time here, going at Julio Marcano. From the windup, southpaw kicks and deals. About tied him up in knots there. Marcano did well to lay off, and that will be the call from first base umpire Mike Rabideau. That one not particularly close, but we have seen a number of those where he just about gets a guy.
Yeah, it was a really nice job hanging on there by Marcano. He was twisted up on that check swing.
The 1-2. And this one's in there. Called strike 3. Julio Marcano can only watch it go by, and Trey Dombrowski has strikeout number 4 on the day.
Very nice pitch. He wanted that location, you could tell on the previous pitch, where he just picks that inside corner on the lower part of the plate, or lower part of the zone rather, on the off speed, and he got it on the 1-2.
Yep, and that's that changeup again. Really the only true off-speed pitch, if you want to call it that he has. And there it is again, 75 miles an hour, and it's in there. Pretty good velocity on the fastball, pretty good velocity on the slider and the cutter, but when he does work with that changeup, it can be a nasty thing. And he goes to that same well here now, Colin, Tim, for 4 consecutive pitches.
Yeah, he is really liking that changeup. It's working well for him so far. It's typically you try to get guys to reach for that, but he's going right over the plate with it.
Could be that kind of the mind games of, well, he's not going to throw another one as he delivers a different pitch this time. This time it's 79 miles an hour, but it's fouled away, and he's ahead 0-2 of yet another hitter, this time in the ever-dangerous Chase DeLauder.
Yeah, you really want to get ahead of a guy like DeLauder, and it's good that Dombrowski did so because it gives him more options now on the mound to try and get DeLauder to swing at something, as he's going to be more defensive at the plate.
He has not delivered a ball yet, as this one will be slapped foul. Sharp line drive back beyond the berms, as we see the old Stampede taking off to try to claim a souvenir.
Fans ought to be careful today with the fog.
Yeah, gotta have the head on a swivel normally, but especially today. So the count stays 0-2. Dombrowski ready with the 5th pitch of the at-bat. And this one's going to be roped down the right field line and just foul. So Harwich catches a break there. Again, a game of inches. Last night was a rough one for Chase DeLauder. He had his first 0 for 5 of the season. The week prior, he was actually named Cape Cod Player of the Week after a 7 for 15 stretch. Capitalized by a 5-hit, 2-home run game in that blowout of Brewster we talked about a bit earlier. Here he'll slap one at the second baseman. Hal Hughes gloves it, turns, throws to first in time, 2 away.
Another good example of Dombrowski just trusting his defense. That ball hit squarely to that second baseman, and Hughes handles it rather easily, and Dombrowski's still looking good here through 3 and now 2/3.
See if he can find a way to get Jack Bolger here, who is making his Cape League debut, as well as the pitcher Patrick Riley, the 2 new guys in the lineup here for the Firebirds. First pitch on the way, he squares to bunt, pops it back to the screen here. Count goes to 0-1. Mentioned a lot of teams very hard hit by the 2021 MLB draft. Orleans really not among them. They lost fewer guys than most. Dombrowski ready with the 0-1. And he'll sail that one high and away. Count goes to 1-1.
Yeah, I think it was really the sweep where players went to Team USA that really hurt them. When you lose guys like Jace Young and Jordan Sprinkle up the middle, that's going to hurt.
Most definitely. This one comes back in for a called strike. Little front door off speed pitch there. Count goes to 1-2 here on Jack Bolger. Again, Bolger in just his first game in the CCBL. The 1-2. Misses low. Good job of laying off on the low fastball. Count even at 2 apiece. And there you see, I mean, again, Tim, just 85 miles an hour on the fastball. Nothing overpowering. He just does a great job locating with all 4 of his pitches. 2-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Jack Bolger down on strikes. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Trey Dombrowski. And it's still 0-0 here from White House Field. We'll step away when we come back. It'll be Josh Hood, Press Kavanaugh, and Jordan Beck due up. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry joined now by Colin Casey as Tim Foley off on a WEEI adventure. If you want to hear more from Tim, an interview with him coming up on WEEI, tune your radios to 96.3. But for now, Tyler and Colin, good to be back in the booth here and bringing you this one as Josh Hood will lead things off for the Harwich Mariners. He takes a big cut at the first pitch he sees and comes up empty.
Yeah, good to see Tim get that kind of exposure. I was fortunate enough to hop on WEEI 2 summers ago, ironically against Orleans, although this game was taking place over at Eldridge Park.
Yep, of course, a popular venue among those around the Cape and in those media circles. This will be an 0-2 count here on Hood, who swings through the next pitch he sees. And I'm curious, Colin, I mean, you've been watching the same game that we are, but I wanted to get your perspective on Pat Riley, what you've seen from Patrick Riley so far in this one. The Vanderbilt product has been looked pretty comfortable so far as he gets a swing and a miss there. Josh Hood trying to send that one over the tree line for out number 1.
Yeah, he reminds me of the opposing pitcher in Trey Dombrowski in that he's looked so comfortable in his debut. It's so hard to jump into this league and find success early on. Both of those guys have done just that. Great job so far from the righty out of Vanderbilt.
Yep, he'll now face the first guy to reach on a true single that was not laid down by a bunt here in Press Kavanaugh, who had an infield single up the middle back in inning number 2. Pitch on the way, and that'll miss in the dirt. He had some command issues back in that 3rd inning, but he seemed to get it under control fast enough. Obviously did not allow any runs to come across the score, and this is kind of what we were expecting with the 2 pitchers we had on the mound. Not expecting a ton of runs in this one.
Yeah, certainly not, and it's gone just the way it has been expected, and not too surprising either. Might be tough for these hitters to pick up the baseball through the fog.
Swing and a miss here on the 1-1. Yeah, that's another thing we haven't really talked about. That certainly does that is advantage pitcher every day of the week, because at the end of the day, your guy is in the same spot that he always is. You have kind of a feel for it if nothing else, but trying to pick the ball up out of a guy's hand is even more difficult. So we get a swing and a miss here by Kavanaugh to fall behind 1-2.
But then it turns around if the batter's able to put one in play. Then the pressure shifts to the fielder who has to find it through this thick fog.
It's just a whole chaotic mess. As the 1-2 is on the way. That'll miss up and out. And the count goes 2-2. You've also got to think, I mean, typically the easiest outs in the world are soft fly balls, but today that's going to be a bit more challenging as it's probably pretty easy to lose that thing up in the mist and the fog. 2-2 on the way. Swung on and fouled right back to us. And Colin, proud of us. No flinch there.
Yeah, that was directly at us. A couple of seasoned veterans here.
Not even
expecting that one just to hit the netting. We trust the netting.
Yep. Not even a second look though. I mean, that was probably the most casual response we've had.
No question.
2-2 on the way. This time, swung on and popped high in the air, drifting out to deep right field. Marcano tracking it back, settles under it, and makes the catch for out number 3. For all the fog we've had tonight, has not really played too much havoc with our outfielders.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't, as you got to give a lot of credit. I mean, from our vantage point, it looks really foggy out. I can't even imagine how much worse it is when you're down there on the field looking for that ball up in the fog. You have the lights also, you have to deal with it. But those two right fielders, Marcano and the guy stepping to the plate, and Jordan Beck, they've done a nice job patrolling right field tonight.
Well, and we talked about it a little bit as, again, Jordan Beck, as you mentioned, at the plate now. First pitch to him will be in there for a called strike. So White House Field is the only field in the league that now has not only lights coming down onto the field, but also the lights projecting upwards to help the players in the outfield find the ball. But with the fog, again, that basically just creates a thicker cloud that you have to try to look through as Beck takes strike 2. So, you know, I might be interested to talk to some of the outfielders for Harwich after this game and kind of see what that did exactly. Did it make it easier? Did it make it more difficult? But either way, I can't imagine playing outfield is fun today.
Yeah, not at all. You're pretty much guessing on every read once you hear it crack off the bat.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch to Jordan Beck. He will fight this off and stay alive. Count stays at 0-2.
And it doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. That fog is expected to stick around for the next couple of hours. Whether it gets worse or improves it remains to be seen, but it's never easy to play defense with just this thick cloud hovering over the field.
Yep, certainly not. Here comes another 0-2 pitch. This one just barely getting the wood on it there is Jordan Beck. And let's talk for just a moment again about Patrick Riley. We kind of alluded to this earlier on the broadcast, but again, just wanted to kind of get a fresh perspective on it here. You know the kid's got stuff if he's in a starting rotation as a freshman behind guys like Rocker and Leiter and whoever else may be there. I mean, those are 2 top 10 draft picks, and then on top of that, you've got a mix of other guys fighting for those remaining starting spots. And this kid was given one, and there's the strikeout stuff as he gets Jordan Beck swinging to end the inning. So we will step away. When we come back to the 5th we go. Still scoreless here from White House Field on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to the ballpark here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry and Colin Casey bringing you a pitcher's duel through the first 4 innings of work. It'll be Corey Acton, Trey Harmon, and Justin Mickness, the 3 due up here for Orleans. And again, Corey Acton looking for his first hit now against his former team. Colin, I don't really know what exactly it is, but we kind of joked about this earlier. There seems to be a pipeline from Harwich to Orleans. It's a very odd thing to see.
Yeah, it really is. It's crazy how many guys you see go from one team to the other throughout the Cape League. First pitch over for a strike. But Jacob Hurtubise, the name you'd mentioned earlier, finding a home in Orleans after starting in Harwich, and see Corey Acton doing the same this summer.
Next pitch to Acton, swung on, and this will be his first hit of the 2021 CCBL season. Corey Acton aboard here with nobody out for Trey Harmon.
getting a little revenge on his former team. I think Wilkin might have misread that ball off the bat because he got it in between hops, couldn't get his glove down in time. You wonder if it's the visibility or he just got a bad read. Regardless, Orleans finally getting a leadoff man on against a very strong Trey Dombrowski.
Yep, and here comes a guy who barreled it up last time, Trey Harmon, who drove one out to right field for a single to lead off that inning. Of course, he got all the way to third base, but did not come around to score. First pitch he sees misses up and out. Colin, there is one exception to the guys leaving Harwich, staying in the Cape, and going to Orleans rule, and that, of course, is Nick Swalk, who went to the Bourne Braves in the 2019 season, came back to the Bourne Braves here this year, and pitched really lights out to increase his draft stock as a check over to first by Dombrowski here, and then, of course, was taken in the 17th round by the New York Mets.
Yeah, it's always good to see guys kind of take one summer, learn a little bit, and then really dominate the following summer like Evan Shawver did for Harwich.
Absolutely. Shawver, is an interesting case because it's not like he was one of the guys that we kind of knew what we were getting in 2019. He was a temporary contract, a kid from Cincinnati, him and Joey Weimer, and he came and he pitched well, but he didn't do anything to impress the team too much, was cut relatively early into that season. He comes back in 2021, and I think you and I had the same reaction. We're looking at his numbers, and we're going, oh, no, this kid has really stepped it up. And then we saw what he had, and he was just lights out. I mean, you mentioned 22 strikeouts, 0 walks as a pitch looked at here for strike 2.
Yeah, and keep in mind, that's a 2-year difference with there being no season in 2020, so he really improved his stuff at Cincinnati in that span, even with COVID playing a role in kind of limiting his reps.
1-2 to Harmon. Swing and a miss. He got him. Harmon looking silly, chasing an off-speed pitch low. And that is strikeout number 6 for Trey Dombrowski, who just continues to rack him up in big numbers here, Colin.
And the big thing with Dombrowski is that breaking ball. It is so hard to pick up out of the hand, and there's so much movement on it. It's got that 12-6 movement where it starts at your shoulders, ends up at your feet in the blink of an eye. Really working it tonight, as he has been all season long.
Well, and again, a 10-mile-an-hour drop-off between his fastball and that breaking ball. As this pitch is fouled away here by Justin Mickness, who was the second strikeout victim for Dombrowski. We really saw Dombrowski cruise the first time through the order, but he did only have those 3 strikeouts first time through. Just a lot of soft contact that time around. Here the second time around, where the hitter usually has the advantage as he checks over to first, he's really been dialed in.
Yeah, he's sitting right now at 65 pitches, and are they going to call a balk?
Yep, I believe they are. So a balk is going to allow Corey Acton the potential go-ahead run, and potentially the first run of the ball game to move up into scoring position. Could be in store for a little bit of that Corey Acton revenge action as Coach Steve Englert comes out to have a word with the second base umpire. I get the feeling this will be one of the more brief conversations.
Yeah, probably just wants an explanation as to why a balk was called. But I saw Corey Acton, as he was going up to second, gave a playful shove to Zach Preisner, a guy who was a fellow middle infielder with. I'm sure he turned a couple of double plays with him in their time playing together.
And of course, Acton doing some, not real jawing, but some jawing with the Harwich dugout before this game. All fun and games here on the Cape. Very competitive teams, very competitive players, but guys that certainly respect each other. This ball taken to Hughes at second, picks it up, throws to first in time for the second out, but that does allow Corey Acton to move up to third with 2 away.
Yeah, productive second out, keeping the ball on the right side of second base. Acton easily getting to third base, and these opportunities, both teams have had a fair share of them, haven't been able to capitalize. Orleans trying to finally draw first blood.
Yep, a great opportunity to do so here. Again, a runner just 90 feet away. They've had this situation twice in this game. Trey Harmon reached third base back in the 3rd inning. They've got Corey Acton at third here for Ben Blackwell. And Blackwell takes a big cut at the first pitch he sees. A fastball, 89. Colin, reaching back for a little something extra there was Dombrowski.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're sitting that breaking ball, even if it's not a blazing fastball, 89 miles an hour will catch up to you quickly, and it's really tough to get your hands around by the time the ball's in the mitt.
So Trey Dombrowski dialed in, delivers the 0-1. This is swung on, taken out into left, falling fast, chasing it, and diving and making the catch. How about that for Press Kavanaugh? The Sports Center top 10 catches made, and that will retire the side.
Wow. I mean, in the fog, no less, able to come in and make the sliding catch. Kavanaugh, outstanding stuff. We've seen some great defense from the Harwich outfield over the last couple of nights, but that one might take the cake as the best play we've seen by an outfielder this season for Harwich.
So thanks to Press Kavanaugh, zeros across the board as we go to the home half of inning number 5. Still no score from White House here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Colin Casey checks out. Tim Foley checks in. And now turning it over for the next 2.5 of play-by-play. Tim Foley, fresh off of his debut on WEEI.
Yeah, always great to see family, in-laws, as Larry Egan, or outlaws, as some like to put it. Ball hit on the ground by Preisner, the leadoff man, to Blackwell. Throw on to first in time. Quickly one out in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And Preisner getting on a ball quickly, as opposed to some of these lengthier at-bats we've seen from Harwich so far in this game.
Yep, and the pitch count still not anything to worry about for Dombrowski or for Riley, who's out for another inning of work. And you get the feeling with how much work Riley got at the end of the year. Check some of his later appearances. It seems like he is probably not on any kind of a limit here in his debut.
Yeah, he keeps on going. This is 61 pitches for him. As now you have Hal Hughes come into the game. Grounded out to third his last time up. He'll take first pitch. That's going to miss it inside at 88 miles an hour for ball 1. So each team has had a few runners get aboard. Nothing has come across yet as the 1-0 pitch finds a way in at 81 miles an hour. Count now 1-1. So far, Harwich having left 5 runners on base. Orleans not as many in 3. 1-1 pitch. Now a 2-1 count.
Yeah, but of those 8 runners that have been left on today, 6 of them in scoring position between the two.
As Harwich is not, nor Orleans have been able to capitalize on these opportunities twice, as Hughes will sky one out to right field. Marcano settles under it, makes the catch for out number 2, quickly 2 away in the bottom of the 5th.
Yep, and as that will bring up Tatum Levens, the leadoff man here. Haven't had a chance to catch up on our out-of-town scoreboard yet. There is one score I wanted to highlight. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks were up 5-2, then 5-3. It is now 5-5, Hyannis and Bourne. The Harbor Hawks could potentially lose another game if things do not bounce their way. That game currently in the the bottom of the 6th.
And we now have a meeting on the mound between pitcher Patrick Riley and skipper Kelly Nicholson. Of course, 2 outs in the inning, but each Preisner and Hughes getting contact on their 2 outs recorded. So now you have Tatum Levens, a guy who's really excellent at making adjustments, had a good one back in his second at-bat in the 3rd inning to hit a double, get himself on second base. He would go no further. He is ahead in the count here, 1-0. And that pitch again down low and inside, same place as that first pitch. It's a 2-0 count now here to Levens.
Yeah, the longer this game has gone on, it almost looks like the less confidence we've seen out of Patrick Riley.
2-0 pitch, Again, that same spot, low and inside, skips on the dirt right next to home plate. Count now 3-0 in favor of Levens here.
He's got 5 strikeouts, but 3 of those came in the first 5 batters of this game. Since then, just the 2 Ks.
3-0 pitch. That will catch the outside part of the plate, high and away. 94 miles an hour for a 3-1 count. Steps and delivers. Levens gets a piece of this one, fouls it off along that third base side berm. Count now full. We have seen this a few times from Riley where he'll get behind in a count 3-0, and then he'll battle back, get the next 2 strikes. Did that against Jordan Beck to record his 5th strikeout of the game to end the 4th inning. The payoff pitch. Hit on the ground. Chatinier throw to first in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 down they go. That is the last 8 Harwich batters retired. We move now to the top of the 6th inning. Still a scoreless game here from White House Field. 0-0 between the Harwich Mariners and Orleans Firebirds. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back at the White House Field here. A scoreless game between the Firebirds and Mariners. It's the top of the order due up for Orleans. Peyton Chatinier, Luke Keischel, and Julio Marcano each due up. Top of the order tonight, just 1 for 6 so far. It was Chatinier, who currently digs in from the righty batter's box, who had a double to push Harmon over to third back in the 3rd inning. He offers at the first pitch thrown. He does go around. It is strike 1.
Yeah, you noticed there, I mean, he did not want to offer that pitch, but kind of spins around, does a little pirouette in the box. He knew that was a strike.
And the 0-1 pitch. This one skied up. That's going out towards center. Chris Newell settles under it, makes the catch, 1 away.
Yep, quick out there for Dombrowski. Again, both pitchers working at a pretty efficient pace. And mentioned Dombrowski's 7 innings is the longest outing we've seen on the Cape from anybody. He's already entering a 6th inning. Patrick Riley might match him on the other side of that. There is an arm up and warming in the bullpen, but don't know that we'll see a new pitcher coming into the game after this here for Orleans.
Trey Dombrowski threw about 85 pitches his last outing. His last outing, as pitch number 70 here is just off the plate, 1-0. It's been efficient for both guys. 1-0 pitch. That's in for a called strike at 75, and we talked about this a bit earlier, but it's really been nothing overpowering from Dombrowski. Just a lot of off-speed changeup. He's just getting a lot of his stuff to go exactly where he wants it, and Orleans can't get a good read on it. Time called here as the batter, Luke Keischel, 0 for 2 today, settles back in. 1-1. Chops this one. Wilkin plays it on a hop. Throw on to first in the dirt, but Putz does a nice job digging that one out of the dirt. Out number 2 in the top of the 6th inning.
Yeah, I mean, back to your point, we saw him touch 89 miles an hour, which admittedly is not a ton, but nothing up in the 90s, still able to command his stuff so well. And he did that very same thing against Julio Marcano earlier in this game, got him to strike out looking. They'll face Marcano for a second time here today. Marcano now working on an 0 for 8, the worst streak of his season.
Yeah, certainly not the kind of streak you want to be on. Falls behind in the count 0-1, and across his last 5, batting about 250, but you mentioned that streak is something that's tough to get out of once you're in it, because it's not as easy as just relying on your batting average to bail you out every now and then. It's about, as a hitter, being present mentally in the batter's box. There are no free hits given out in this game, as the 0-2 pitch chopped towards Wilkins' way, but it's just foul. We'll do it again. Count stays at 0-2.
Yep, and again, he's done a good job of getting ahead of almost every batter that he's faced. That's something that you also see start to drop off typically second or third time through the order. I mean, he is early into the third time through here, but you know, regardless of what inning he's pitched in, that's been the one consistent thing for Dombrowski. He's gotten ahead of guys, and then he's found ways to set them down.
The 0-2 pitch. Just missing on the outside part of it. Dombrowski perhaps thought he had it. Took a walk. He was about halfway to the third baseline, and then took the pass from his teammate Levens and stepped back onto the mound.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most confident walk-off I've seen on a ball in a while, but that was awfully close.
This ball roped foul along the dirt. I'm not sure if he was expecting an extremely delayed strike 3 call from Bill Julie behind the plate, but a lot of confidence there from Dombrowski on that pitch.
I think he might have just been trying to walk that strikeout into existence.
The 1-2 pitch sliced off, 91 miles an hour. That's right about the fastest we've seen from Dombrowski tonight. The bases are empty. There's 2 outs. Chatagnier flew out to center. Keischel grounded out to Wilkin at third, and Marcano on the cusp of striking out for the second time today. The 1-2. That ball misses high. Marcano battling back now. Count evens out at 2-2.
And there is a certain air of, you know, wanting to get back at a guy. When the umpire doesn't give you that call, you want to come back and get the strikeout.
2-2 pitch. Fouled off. Count stays 2-2.
He almost got it there. Marcano lucky to get a piece of that. Brings home that breaking ball. And again, a lot of good movement on it, but able to get just a splinter on top is Julio Marcano to stay alive.
Haven't had a whole lot of guys give Dombrowski that many issues. 2-2 pitch. That one's going to just miss high and inside. Count now runs full. It's been either a quick put out by Dombrowski with a strikeout, or been a lot of Orleans batters hitting into the defense or getting an early hit in the count. Haven't seen a whole lot of lengthy at-bats. The 3-2. Pulled foul. We will pitch once more to Marcano.
And I believe Trey Dombrowski now up to his highest pitch count of the season. So more than likely, this will be the end of the line. There is an arm up and warming right now in that Harwich Mariner bullpen.
This is the 10th pitch of this at-bat. The 3-2. Got him on the outside part of the plate. Strike 3 called. Down goes Marcano. We'll meet you at the bottom of the 6th inning. Still 0-0. Harwich and Orleans. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field, Mariners fans. Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. In-person and high-flex classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, accounting, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu. With you now in the bottom of the 6th inning, a new pitcher on the mound to face off against Chris Newell for Orleans. It's Zach Morris, the lefty out of Arkansas. So the day is done for Patrick Riley. Hands it off to his SEC counterpart. First pitch seen by Newell is in for a strike. So the day for Riley looked like this. 5 complete innings pitched, gave up 3 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Tyler, what did you make of Riley's day on the mound?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he settled in really well. He settled in early, and he had his stuff going. You know, a multi-pitch guy is a pitch across here for a strike by the new man in for Orleans. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't rattly. He struggled with control sometimes, but he bounced back. Did not have many walks. I think that's exactly what you want to see if you're Kelly Nicholson. Could be a mainstay in this rotation for the Firebirds moving forward.
Yeah, you want to see how guys settle in. Of course, that was the first appearance of the season for Riley. It's a 1-2 count here on Chris Newell. So in steps Zach Morris. As mentioned, this is his 6th appearance for the Firebirds this season. He's pitched 5 complete innings so far, given up 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 of them earned. He's walked 2 batters, and he struck out 4. Tried to get strikeout number 5 with that pitch. Instead, count moves to 2-2.
Yep, and a tough time to be thrown into the game. Obviously, nobody on base, but you're facing off against the heart of the order here for the Mariners. And they've had pretty good success in the past sometimes jumping on relievers that come into the game. See if they can find a way to do that here.
2-2 pitch is skied up. That's going to be playable. Blackwell settles under it at short. Catch is made. And there's 1 away in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, I just had a quick announcement here. It is now gone official. We have one more former Harwich Mariner to congratulate, and it's one of our own. Jared Weatherby has officially signed a non-draft contract with the Philadelphia Phillies. Congratulations to Jared. He has been working very hard all season long for us as a part of our graphics and social media team. And good to see another former Harwich Mariner get one of those contracts and have a shot at the show one day.
Certainly so. As first pitch now to Brock Wilken. Misses down low for a ball. Really is great to see guys have that chance. Maybe you don't hear your name called, but to still be able to sign that contract and fulfill that dream is a big moment. So a big congratulations to Jared Weatherby. A 1-0 pitch. Wilken pulls this one out to left, and that's going to be foul. But he has a lot of power down that left field line. That's where he's hit most of his brockets so far this season.
I don't know if I want to go there. That might have been called a home run in Chatham. That's all I'm going to say.
Of course, the controversial home run call on Wilkins' 2-run shot in the first inning in Chatham the other night that helped fire a couple of runs over the fence for Harwich. A rainbow from Boris on the mound at 75 ends up missing the zone up high.
Of course, whether you thought it was a home run or not doesn't end up making a difference in a game that the Mariners come back and get a big victory in 8-2. I mean, ultimately pretty inconsequential, but
2-1 pitch is fanned on up high, and one thing I'm an advocate for, the butterfly effect. You never know how Brock Wilkins' home run offsets the rest of the game. That can change the sequence of events from there on out, changes how a pitcher thinks on the mound, changes how your guys pitch on the mound. And so, who's to say, of course, end of the day, but Harwich got the win nonetheless. 2-2 pitch, pulled foul, and he's pulling a lot to that left side.
Speaking of things we don't necessarily want to talk about, but we kind of have to talk about, we gave you an update earlier. Hyannis was up 5-1, then 5-2, then 5-3, 5-5. They now trail the Bourne Braves 6-5 in the top of the 7th.
And that is the 3rd game of a 3-game set between the Harbor Hawks and the Braves. Bourne taking each of the first 2 games in that set. As we take a look around the rest of the league, full count here to Brock Wilken. Of course, tied up here. Katuitt leads Wareham 3-1. The bottom of the 6th, that's Spillane Field. The 3-2 pitch, called strike 3. Down goes Wilken. Out number 2 in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, tough pitch to lay off of there, but Wilken ends up watching it in the zone, and that is the first punch out of the day for the new pitcher, Zach Morris.
So this will bring up Carter Putz, currently 0 for 2. Going to look to change his fate with a new pitcher on the mound. The one other game going on this evening across the Cape, just east of us, down Route 28. The Chatham Anglers hosting the Brewster Whitecaps, currently in the bottom of the 4th inning, a 1-1 game. And that game was delayed about 25 minutes, I want to say, as Putz takes the first ball he sees, hits it over to Blackwell, throw on to first. In time to record the out. Stretching out his big toe was Big Trey Harmon. Records the third out of the inning. We move now to the top of the 7th. We'll be back in just a minute. Still scoreless here from White House Field. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. A scoreless game between the Firebirds and Mariners as we move now to the final third of the game. 7th, 8th, and 9th innings coming up. Alex Rayo is the new pitcher on the mound. The day is done for Trey Dombrowski. His line looks like this. Pitched 6 complete innings, gave up just 3 hits, no runs, did not walk a soul, and struck out 7.
Yeah, and here's some numbers for you. Trey Dombrowski now on the season, 18 and 2/3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs allowed, 30 strikeouts, 2 walks. That is it for Trey Dombrowski.
A phenomenal strikeout to walk ratio as he has really blossomed for these Mariners. Saw shades of it in that relief outing against YD, and he has been every bit as good since then. Ball fouled off. I think it went off the roof of the press box here. Felt a rumble as Chase DeLauder fouled that one back just above our protective netting. He's behind in the count, 0-1. DeLauder 0 for 2 so far today as he takes the 0-1 pitch. Low and outside, 1-1. He grounded out to third to open up the second inning, or pardon me, first, and grounded into a 4-3 play at second, back in the 4th. Big fan here from DeLauder. He's behind now, 1-2.
Yep, and we'll see whether Rayo can pick up where he left off. Another guy who's looked pretty good out of the bullpen so far, and another guy that, consequently, I believe all of his appearances have come here in the friendly confines of White House Field.
I believe so. I have not any images in my mind of Rayo in an away jersey as he faces a 2-2 count now here, and certainly enjoying the routines of home. 2-2 pitches fouled up well high. In fact, it's going to go all the way out to Newell in center. No, that ball's going to drop. Chris Newell called for it, except I don't believe he knew where it was. That thing dropped about 20 feet in front of him. Nobody was near that ball.
And yeah, I mean, again, the fog is actually a little lighter now than it was earlier today, but it could have just been in the wrong spot at the wrong time for him. Either way, it's going to once again put the go-ahead run in scoring position to start the inning. And we'll see how they rule that. It's going to be ruled a hit.
That's
so
a
give
hit.
DeLauder probably the easiest double of his career, you think, Tim?
I mean, that thing was, it has to be. That was a pop-up off the bat, but certainly an unfortunate break for the Mariners. They've had a few breaks go their way in recent days. They were due to have their number called as the bunt is shown by Jack Bolger. Now it's about how you respond from that. A tough break for Rayo on the mound, who gave himself a good opportunity to get a quick out in the inning, but now you have a guy on second. Now you have to worry about him and what he's doing over on the two bag. Now you have an 0-1 count here to Bolger. Bunt showed again, laid down perfectly sitting at home. Levens will pick it up, throw on to Putz, who stretches out his left arm to make the catch. That will advance DeLauder 90 feet.
Yep, good sacrifice bunt there. Gets the runner over to third base. I believe this is the first time that Orleans has had a runner on third with one or fewer outs in an inning. They've had guys on third, but usually with two away. So Rayo's going to have to be careful here, trying to avoid allowing that first run to come across.
No double play opportunity, so you can't allow any kind of base hit as the Mariners infield is in here on the edge of the grass, going to look to prevent that run coming home. It's been a tight scoring game, and you don't want to give anything up here as the first pitch to Corey Acton, former Mariner, is in the dirt. You have to imagine he'd like to drive a ball into the outfield and put his new team ahead of his old one.
Yeah, I mean, he's been kind of a thorn in the side for the Mariners today. Reached on that leadoff single in the fifth, came around to third, but did not score. Now a chance to drive the run in.
Ball flies up, goes foul. He, of course, also was the beneficiary of that balk from Dombrowski.
Yep, and it would be his second hit of the CCBL season, both of which would come here with Orleans. So again, like I said, sometimes those guys, they change spots, and that ends up being enough to put them in a good position to succeed.
It's a 1-1 count here to Acton. Fouls it off, gets a piece of somebody behind the plate. And neither the umpire nor catcher Levens seeming to show too much on that one. Levens did lift up his mask. I'm inclined to believe he got a piece of his helmet. It's a 1-2 count now here to Acton.
Usually a safe bet to assume that Tatum Levens is just getting pulverized behind the dish, the poor guy.
As has been the case over these past few weeks. 1-2 count is fouled off. 91 miles an hour from Alex Rayo. That ball high in the zone. Count stays at 1-2.
And right now you see the entire infield playing up on the infield grass, ready to try to cut the runner down at home if the situation arises. But a strikeout would go a long way towards settling down the defense here and putting yourself in a position to get out of the inning unscathed.
Rayo stares at third and delivers. Just missing on the inside part of the plate. A tough break for Rayo and a pretty good looking pitch at 91 miles an hour, but instead of strike three, it's ball two.
Yeah, tough to imagine how Acton laid off of that pitch, but certainly on the inner half, and now an opportunity for Rayo to try to bounce back on a 2-2.
The pitch. Hit on the bat, a half swing. Play at the plate. Will not be in time. No play at first. Chase DeLauder comes home to score, and the Firebirds strike first.
And I believe that's ruled a fielder's choice. But either way, I believe it will be an RBI for Corey Acton, his first of the CCBL season.
It is ruled a fielder's choice, so mark that one in your scorebook. This will bring up Trey Harmon. That was a big moment where Orleans, they were able to bring a run around. You kind of manufacture one there, a half swing from Acton that ultimately puts him ahead. And now Acton goes for second. The throw is behind Acton. He's now going to move down to third. Laser into Brock, and he will hold on to it. Stolen base for Acton, and then an error on Levens on the throw, and that's one of the areas of Levens' games where we've seen it show at times where some of these throws aren't exactly on the mark, and it does cost them a base there.
Well, and crazy to see as Coach Steve Angler comes out to talk to Rayo for just a moment. Corey Acton went from in the batter's box to third base on effectively a bunt single on just 2 pitches. So the situation stays the same here for Orleans. They can drive another one in with one away, and Acton's speed, you have to think anything to the outfield, probably going to be deep enough to score him on a tag. And also notably, nobody up and warming right now in the Harwich bullpen. Still very early into Rayo's appearance. No reason to think that he does not still have confidence enough to go deep into this. But just a one-run game. We've seen this a time or two before with the Orleans Firebirds. A lot of their close games this year have been of the low-scoring variety.
Certainly have been. As conversation on the mound now being broken up. Head coach Steve Engler having some words with home plate umpire Billy Julie. Harwich looks to settle back in here. They had the infield in when DeLauder stood at third. They tried to cut off the run, and similar setup here. Infield playing in a bit, again at the lip of the grass, trying to cut off Acton at home. They weren't able to get the ball in quickly enough, and that's the thing that for Acton, he looks like he wasn't fully committed on that swing, but that was probably the best he could have done in that situation because the slow roller gives the runner in DeLauder plenty of time to come home to score.
Yeah, nothing too crazy in terms of contact. Keep in mind, I mean, Chase DeLauder, his double was basically a pop fly to straightaway center field that on a normal day is an easy out, and Corey Acton's RBI fielder's choice to bring him in was a swinging bunt. It's not like anybody's been squaring it up here on Rayo.
1-2 pitch, hit on the ground, and that gets over the infield. Acton comes home to score. And with the infield in, a chopper from Harmon drives in the second run of the day for Orleans.
And this is the most infuriating thing in the world if you're a pitcher, because again, through no fault of his own, you now have 2 earned runs given up here by the pitcher in Alex Rayo. And again, soft contact. He's done his job. He's trusted his defense. His defense has not betrayed him. There's not an error in this, or just the one throwing error in this inning, but just the circumstances have not been on the side of Harwich. And they now trail 2-0. So it looks like we're getting a courtesy runner in here for the first baseman, Trey Harmon.
Standing over on first base now for the Firebirds. Looks at first glance to be Tyler Locklear, playing out of VCU. In stands Justin Mickness, the catcher. First pitch from Rayo, a called strike 1 at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah, but Harwich, at this point, you've just got to try to find a way to get out of the inning with these 2 runs on the board and nothing more.
Have not had the best of luck in this inning. The 0-1 pitch misses up high, and you mentioned it, if you're Rayo, a bit frustrating as just the shifts ultimately not paying off, not in your favor. With that last hit, the chopper in what would normally be a regular depth going right over Hughes standing at second. 1-1 pitch is fouled back into the glove of Levens. 1-2.
Well, and again, it's just the type of hit that comes back to bite you if you're Rayo. You want the shift on. You want the opportunity to cut the runner down at home if you've got a soft ground ball. But because of that, as you mentioned, it just the chopper gets over the head of Hughes, and now you've got a runner standing on first and a 2-run deficit on the board.
The 1-2 pitch. It will miss, and the count will even out. So Harmon stands, or pardon me, at this point, Locklear stands on first. DeLauder and Acton have each come home to score. Acton, again, the former Mariner. It's a 2-2 count. Pitch on the outside. Count now full. Rayo looking to avoid giving up his first walk of the game. This has been the busiest inning by far for these Firebirds. Runner goes, and that will hang him up. Justin Mickness goes down looking. Trey Harmon does advance to second base. Maybe on a defensive indifference there, as Levens had no intention on throwing down to second.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the 9-hole hitter coming up here. 2 away, a guy who's 0 for 2 at the plate. You can try to focus on getting one more quick one here. But, yeah, I mean, really no fault of Rayo, no fault of the defense. It's just been kind of a disastrous stretch of bad luck here for the M's.
First pitch to the 9-hole batter, Ben Blackwell. misses for a ball at 91 miles an hour. Blackwell 0 for 2, struck out swinging back in the third inning. Lined out to left on a nice catch by Press Kavanaugh as he came in. 1-0 pitch is in for a called strike. So now you have Locklear standing on second in scoring position with 2 outs.
Well, keep in mind, too, even if Harwich finds a way to get out of this, their last 11 guys have been retired. So going to have to get some life back into the bats here to climb back out of this 2-run hole.
1-1 pitch, fouled off. Count now moves to 1-2. It will be Josh Hood, Press Kavanaugh, and Jordan Beck each due up if you're Harwich. And it's go time now. We'll have to see what sort of tactics Harwich resorts to in a 2-0 game. One-two on the outside part, misses low and away at 83 miles an hour. Now 2-2. We haven't seen Rayo really go after guys so much as we saw Dombrowski do all afternoon. We've seen a lot of counts kind of even out early. 2-2 misses up high, count now full. And Rayo, again, still looking to avoid that first walk of the day. Did just strike out Mickness on a full count. Trying to replicate that here. Help end the inning with minimal damage. Down he goes swinging, dropped strike 3. It's a foul, however, just barely.
Yeah, but again, just another tiny, tiny break that goes the way of the Firebirds. But you add them all up, and it puts 2 runs on the scoreboard, and the inning not over yet. Runner in scoring position and a full count here.
Once more, Harmon standing on second. Blackwell standing in the righty batter's box. The 3-2. High and away, ball 4. First walk of the day issued by the Mariners pitching staff comes here in the top of the 7th inning, and we're back to the top of the order now in Peyton Chatinier.
And again, I mean, go back to the frustration here for Alex Rayo. So far in this one, you've faced 6 batters. That's the first guy that you've really put on base, that has gotten on base by his own merit. And now you've got the top of the order, a couple of guys that have been seeing the ball well the last few days, and a guy in Chatinier who had a big double back in the 3rd inning.
The most Firebirds to come up in a single inning so far, this the 7th. First pitch to Peyton Chatinier is in for a called strike 1. Prior to this, it was the 3rd inning that saw 2 hits, including a double from Chatinier in his 2nd at-bat. Behind here, 0-1. Nice pitch from Rayo in at 82. Floating over the zone.
But I like the approach here from Rayo. He's just going right back at the batter. He's not wasting any time. He's not trying to play around with the corners. He's going to put it in the zone and continue to trust that eventually these breaks are going to start going his way. And just like that, he's out ahead 0-2 on the leadoff man.
Rayo comes set. Stares back at second and delivers. This ball roped out to left field. Kavanaugh settles underneath it to record the out. Not before Orleans brings home 2. It's a new ball game here. Orleans now leads it 2-0. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning. Harwich going to look to wake up the bats. We'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back into White House Field here, Mariners fans. For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Island Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. And now for the play-by-play of the final 2.5 innings, my broadcast partner, Tyler Henry.
Thank you, Tim. Harwich, again, looking to wake up the bats. They've been awfully quiet throughout these last couple of innings, and they'll look to do so against Morris. This ball is rocketed out into the gap in left center. That's going to get down, and it will roll to the fence. Josh Hood turns and heads for two, loses his helmet. He'll turn the corner with nobody holding him on, and it is a leadoff double for Josh Hood. The Harwich Mariners are in business here in the 7th.
And this is a guy that you want to be leading off this inning. You need to have a good stretch. This is a guy who had a hot bat last night, and he's right back at it tonight. Of course, 0 for 2 coming into this at-bat, so really good to see him break out of that, and in a big moment where you now have a guy in scoring position, and the tying run comes to the plate.
Harwich shattered the storyline before I even had a chance to bring it up. They were 0 for their last 11 at the plate. That was going to be a big question coming into this inning. Could they find a way to get the energy back into the bats? And on the first pitch he sees, Josh Hood ropes one into left center. That'll bring up Press Kavanaugh, who is 1 for 2 today. He has an infield single to his name already. Swings at the first pitch he sees and fouls it back towards his own dugout. Count goes here to 0-1.
And you want to stay productive. And this is another guy who you want to see up at bat. There's a lot of guys in this Mariners lineup who have been quiet today who really could go off at any moment. Press Kavanaugh, one of them. He does have a hit already, and another one here would be big as Harwich looks to get back into this one.
Yep, especially with the bottom third of the order a little bit less productive over the last couple of days looming here. The 0-1. There's that rainbow curve, 72 misses high. And again, Zach Morris has done just a little bit of the damage I mentioned before. He came in to start the 6th, got a quick 1-2-3 inning, but spent a lot of time on the bench as his team slowly found a way to get a 2-run lead. Quick update, that second run scored by Corey Acton is unearned. That will not be charged against Alex Rayo. First run, as unfortunate as it is, will be charged to him as the 1-1 misses low and away. And with a runner in scoring position, you see a slightly different approach here by Morris, who's been good this year. But under pressure, we'll see if Harwich can find a way to get to him.
Yeah, that really can change the way a pitcher addresses an inning. You come out and the first pitch you throw is laced out to the gap in left center. It's got you thinking a bit now about what you're throwing.
3.6 ERA on the season for Morris, who comes home with a 2-1. And that'll be fouled off as well. So the count goes to 2-2 here on Press Kavanaugh.
And Kavanaugh, somebody who knows how to battle. We mentioned it earlier in this game, had a lengthy at-bat the other day in Chatham that ultimately resulted in a 2-run blast out to right field.
So Press Kavanaugh trying to hit awfully defensively with a 2-2 count on him. Zach Morris looking to put him away. Runner in scoring position. Harwich trailing by 2 here in the bottom of the 7th. Pitch on the way, taken right back at the pitcher, off his glove just enough to get into the glove of the shortstop Blackwell, who turns and fires to first. That thing would have gotten through, but it goes off the mitt of Zach Morris, and that gives the shortstop time to make the play. But first run of the game potentially for Harwich now just 90 feet away for Jordan Beck.
Yeah, you almost want to score that play 1-6-3 because that would have gotten through the gap had it not just grazed off the glove of Zach Morris. A fortunate break for the lefty.
Yep, and now Kelly Nicholson going to come out and have a word with his pitcher. We'll see if this is the end of the line or whether it's just a meeting with Zach Morris on the bump. He will hand Kelly the ball, and that will be it. So a short leash for Zach Morris. We'll have a new pitcher coming into the game, and we'll get you an update on who that is right after this. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. And, well, this game started with a debut in the CCBL by Patrick Riley. It could potentially end with one as well. Nathan Florence coming into the game here for the Orleans Firebirds, the righty out of Hartford, making his CCBL debut. And he will face Jordan Beck, Zach Preisner, and Hal Hughes. Harwich has a runner just 90 feet away. It is Josh Hood, but that run is of little or no consequence if no one else comes across to score. The Mariners trailing it here by 2. And while we don't have any numbers on Nathan Florence this season, obviously making his debut here in the Cape, we do know what he did at Hartford in 2021. He had a 3-3 record through 18 appearances, a 4.76 ERA, 64 strikeouts to only 24 walks, and the first pitch he delivers is wild upstairs for ball 1. Tim, a lot of confidence being placed in him here. Obviously, to bring him into a situation like this is crunch time, and you're bringing in a guy who does not have any experience in the Cape. This is a bit of a roll of the dice here for Kelly Nicholson as this pitch misses up and in for ball 2.
Yeah, if you're Jordan Beck, you have to be licking your chops here. You're looking for some ounce of success right now, and they bring in a guy who is not from a Power 5. He's making his debut on the Cape. You don't know how long ago he's pitched.
He does get a swing and a miss here by Jordan Beck.
And Beck has to be trying to get a hit here.
So 2-1 the count here on Beck. We've seen a lot of guys come into the Cape League and struggle. There is a certain stigma that this league brings with it. Some guys swim and rise to the top. Some guys sink quickly. We'll see what Nathan Florence does here in his CCBL debut. Comes set, brings home the 2-1. And that's a cross for a strike. So he's regained a bit of confidence after missing his first couple of pitches. The count even at 2-2 on Jordan Beck, who so far today has a walk and a strikeout. I often like to joke around about the 3 true outcomes of baseball. If you're a believer in those, well, the only other thing Jordan Beck has left to do today is park one over the left field fence. Right now, just trying to find a way to bring the run across for Harwich. Anything to the outfield will do. Beck stands in, 2-2, and he will swing at a pitch in the dirt, strike 3, and it's a good start to the outing here for Nathan Florence. Someone that, if I'm correct in what I heard earlier, Tim, you actually had a chance to see.
Yeah, over at, of course, had a chance to call a game over at UMass Lowell. He didn't look too bad then, and, we see that here with that first batter. Even if you have a guy in Beck who is in a bit of a slump, that's an SEC talent guy who really high caliber. So to be able to come in and put him out of the nice, put out pitch, it's something familiar for Florence.
Yep, and from one big school guy to another, he'll now face Zach Preisner, who has swapped jerseys, now wearing the number 4 previously held by Ben Malgeri. So far in number 4, he's 0 for 2, a couple of groundouts in this one. The 1-0 pitch, and that is across for a called strike. So the count goes here to 1-1. It is kind of an advantage for Florence coming in to face this part of the Harwich order. You mentioned Jordan Beck in a bit of a slump. Zach Preisner 0 for 2 today. Hal Hughes 0 for 2 today. And if you're thinking, well, maybe Harwich has somebody on the bench that they could bring in a pinch hit situation as this ball fouled off the foot of Zach Preisner, they really don't. I mean, they did sign a couple of guys and activate them. Whether or not they're ready to go today, we're not 100% sure. But the only guys who have been here all season that are available off the bench after the guys taken by the draft, Max Codier and Jake Lazaro. Those are your only 2 other options for the Harwich Mariners. And, of course, you do have a Cape League veteran standing on deck here in Hal Hughes. 1-2 the count right now. Florence sets, kicks, and deals, and a foul ball right back at the Orleans dugout will keep it 1-2 here for Zach Preisner. Quick update on our out-of-town scoreboard. Hyannis has come back from the brink. They now lead 7-6 over the Bourne Braves, looking for their first win. I don't know for a fact, but potentially since June? It's been a while, as the 1-2 misses upstairs, count even at 2 apiece.
They've lost their last 9, Hyannis has.
You got to think, if they've lost their last 9, we're looking at July 14th. Probably one win at some point in July with the off days, but still not a great situation to be in. Here, it's Harwich down by 2. The 2-2 with 2 away, swing and a miss, strike 3. And Zach Preisner is retired. So far, so good for Nathan Florence, making his CCBL debut. Comes in, back-to-back strikeouts of Jordan Beck and Zach Preisner. And the 7th inning is over. To the 8th we go. It'll be the 2, 3, and 4-hole hitters due up for Orleans here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley bringing you a close one here. A 2-0 lead for the Orleans Firebirds. Alex Rayo back out for another inning of work. And Tim, you got to think, after a frustrating half inning that he had, just going to have to settle in, find a way to get some outs, and trust in your offense to come back and get this done.
You certainly have to trust in them, as it was a good start to that last half inning for Harwich at the plate. The leadoff double from Josh Hood, but you can't get any around to bring in any runs. So if you're Rayo, you have to stay locked in, of course, late in this one. Fogg's still in the outfield, as this has been a wild game in regards to visibility and how that has affected play. You could offer that impacted the score of this game.
Oh, it certainly has. As the first pitch to Keishel is in there for a called strike. Count goes to 0-1. One more quick check of your out-of-town scoreboard. Obviously, we're keeping you updated on what's going on down in Bourne. As the Hyannis Harbor Hawks looking to snap a 9-game losing streak. Katuitt currently up 3-1 on the Wareham Gateman, and in the East, Chatham up 6-1 on the Brewster Whitecaps, and that could be good news for the Harwich Mariners, who are currently trying to catch up in the standings as Rayo delivers this pitch out of the zone to even the count at 1-1.
Certainly, and of course, first things first, if you're Harwich, you need to focus on getting the win here tonight. But you know YD's not going anywhere, and you know if Brewster drops, of course, they're not getting anything.
This ball swung on and taken sharply right into the glove of Zach Preisner. It was falling fast, but Preisner got his glove down, and that is the first out of the inning, a sharp line out.
That is some nice defense from Preisner and some tough conditions, as the fog even coming into the infield a bit here. Makes a nice reach over to his right. Of course, glove on his left hand, had to reach across for that one. Really nicely done.
This is also an important game for Orleans. We mentioned Brewster losing right now. YD, of course, on an off day. So Harwich could potentially catch up to YD. Orleans cannot catch up to Harwich with a win here, but they could bring themselves within one game. As again, that Eastern Division just so close. Rayo delivers the next pitch in for a strike. That'll even the count at 1-1 here on Julio Marcano, who has had an uncharacteristically slow day at the plate, 0-for-3 with 2 strikeouts.
And regardless of what happens here, if that Brewster-Chatham score goes final, the difference between first and fifth in the division would be just 2.5 games.
Yeah, absolutely crazy stuff, especially compared to what we have seen out in the West, where the Bourne Braves have the best record in the league, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks with the worst record in the league. As the 1-2 swing and a miss, strike 3, Julio Marcano picks up the hat trick, his 3rd strikeout of the day, and that is number 2 on the day for Alex Rayo.
Like what I'm seeing from Rayo this time around, a lot more confidence on the mound, getting, of course, things to bounce his way in regards to luck on the mound. So for Rayo, you like what he's done so far. Some nice pitches and a really nice one to put away Marcano there.
And quick correction, apparently I completely missed this. There was a pinch hitter in Jared McKenzie. So McKenzie is the strikeout victim as opposed to Marcano. Either way, the point remains, Tim. A great piece of pitching there by Alex Rayo, who will now face Chase DeLauder. And DeLauder responds by ripping one up the middle for a single. And with 2 away, runner aboard here for the Orleans Firebirds.
Some good 2-out hitting. If you're DeLauder, if you're Harwich, you want to stay on it. Don't lose focus. Rayo, you've looked good through the first 2 batters. You have full reason to stay focused here.
Jack Bolger stands in now, still looking for his first official CCBL hit. As the fog really starting to come in now on the outside, or on the outfield side of things. A little bit thicker than what we saw earlier. Of course, with the lights here at Harwich, that is the one advantage you have. There is always the opportunity to wait for it to pass and continue play. The 1-0. Swung on, taken at the second baseman. Pretty easy for Hughes, picks it up, throws to first in time for the 3rd out of the inning, and that'll do it for the top of the 8th. So to the home half we go. It'll be Hal Hughes, Tatum Levins, and Chris Newell due up. Harwich down 2 when we come back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley. Time no longer on the side of the Harwich Mariners. They're down to their final 6 outs here. It'll be Hal Hughes, Tatum Levins, and Chris Newell to lead things off. And looked like something may have been forming with Harwich after that leadoff double by Josh Hood. Nothing ends up coming of it. And telling you what, Tim, right now the fog is awfully thick out to the outfield. And I think we're going to get a conversation between our 3 umpires right now about how to best handle this. We may be headed for a second fog delay.
We'll have to see what these umpires decide. Of course, another thing worth noting, I'm sure Mariners head coach Steve Angler wouldn't go down without a fight, but this game has gone 5 innings. Should the umpires deem it too late to continue?
Yeah, but again, I mean, you got to think. You have the lights. You can wait it out. And it looks like that may be, and looks like that will be the case. If anything changes, we'll keep you up to date. But for now, it looks like we have entered a second fog delay. Again, if we have any changes to that situation, we'll let you know. But that is the word right now, fog delay here at White House Field. We'll be back with more after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. A little Cupid Shuffle coming out here on the Wednesday evening, and looks like for the first time in quite a while, baseball going to be played here at White House Field. We are out of a fog delay. Pitcher warming up right now on the hill is Nathan Florence, so despite the delay, he will come back out here for the M's. And you know, obviously the crowd has thinned out quite a bit here. Not a lot of fans still on tap, but we're still in a good ball game here. Bottom of the 8th inning, Harwich trails it by just 2. An opportunity for them to come back. And as we introduce here again, Tyler Henry alongside Tim Foley. Tim, it really does feel like, you know, Orleans had some momentum. They had the runner on third. They were able to get out of trouble. Now it feels like a brand new ball game. Anything can happen, and you and I have seen enough of these delays this season alone to know all bets are off when you come out of a weather delay.
Yeah, we saw it twice already this season. It was the 2-hour lightning delay that we had in Bourne earlier this season where Bourne came right out, hit a home run, tied the game. Game ended up ending in a 1-1 tie. And then in Wareham, where the Mariners were ahead, they ended up falling behind the Gateman right out of the delay. But then a nice resilient battle in the top of the 9th, scored a run, ended up resulting again in a tie here. So the Mariners, they're down 2. But if the delays we've seen so far have been any indication, this game is not over by any stretch of the imagination because it kind of wakes the players up a bit. You get into a groove with the game just going through. But the game starts once again. It feels like it's first pitch once more. It's just the stakes are higher. You're in the bottom of the 8th inning now, and you're down to your last 6 outs if you're Harwich.
Most certainly. And speaking of the Bourne Braves, we do have an unfortunate report to deliver. I guess depending on who you are, it is unfortunate. We mentioned Hyannis had a 5-1 lead. Fell behind, came back from behind. They were up 7-6. Ultimately, the Bourne Braves take that one by a score of 8-7 on a walk-off double in the bottom of the 9th. The Katuitt Cavaliers defeat the Wareham Gatemen 6-1, and a game called due to fog. Chatham Anglers get a 6-3 victory over Brewster. That game will not be played out. So this is the last and only game here on the Cape. We are happy to have you in. And again, let's set the scene. Harwich down by 2, bottom of the 8th. Hal Hughes, Tatum Levins, Chris Newell, your next 3 due up here for the Mariners. And they will face Nathan Florence, who is making his CCBL debut. His first pitch is a called strike, looked up and out, but that one just catching the corner. And it'll be a 1-0 count here on Hal Hughes. Of course, it was a 2-run 7th inning for Orleans that gave them this lead. And really, to no fault of Alex Rayo, who was doing everything that he could, just soft contact, a couple of unlucky breaks, allowed 2 runs to come across. So it is a 1-1 count here on Hal Hughes. Harwich looking to rally down to their final 6 outs. Florence brings home the next pitch. That'll miss low. Count goes to 2-1.
And if you're Harwich, you need to get on Florence because he looked really nice coming in to close out that 7th inning. Got both Beck and Preisner looking. His stuff looked good, but Hughes, nice patience here to get ahead in the count 2-1.
Yep, good hitters count. We'll see how aggressive he wants to be here. Florence from the windup. The righty kicks and deals. That'll miss upstairs. It's a 3-1 count here to Hal Hughes. And again, the longest tenured player, not just here on the Harwich Mariners, but probably one of the longest tenured guys in the league. And here comes the 3-1. And that'll be a late strike called. So it's a full count here on Hal Hughes. And you feel like, you know, again, getting the leadoff man aboard, it's always important, but it may hold some extra importance here as Harwich tries to rally once again. The crowd thinning out. Payoff pitch. Swung on and fouled away here by Hughes. Count stays at 3-2. So with Brewster falling to Chatham, again, if Harwich could find a way to come back and count here, 3-2. The windup and the pitch. And this one swung on and fouled away.
Nice battle here from Hughes as he's able to bring it to a full count here. Of course, was ahead 2-1, but good job kind of drawing it out. You want to get a good pitch here if you're Hughes.
Yep, we'll see what Hughes offers at. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes the pitch. And that one swung on and fouled away, this time off to the left side. And just about catches a fan up on the berm. There aren't a lot of fans left, but the ones that are here need to be careful.
In fact, that ball took a seat in a fold-out chair on the berm on the third base side.
Well, fortunate to find its way into an empty seat.
Talk about bringing your equipment to the game, try and catch a ball.
Another payoff pitch. This one in the dirt. Hal Hughes reaches on a leadoff walk, and the Mariners are in business. Tatum Levens will stride to the plate. He represents the tying run.
I mean, perfect start to the inning if you're Harwich. A lengthy at-bat. Try and keep Florence off balance as we're going to have a conversation on the mound. In fact, it's going to be more than just a conversation.
Yep, it looks like the leash very short for Nathan Florence. He walks Hal Hughes, and that'll be enough to send him out of this game. So we'll step away, and when we come back, we'll get you an update on the new pitcher into the game for Orleans. The Harwich Mariners trail at 2-0 here in the bottom of the 8th here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. A new pitcher coming into the game here in relief of Nathan Florence. And Tim, this one, I wouldn't call it a full-blown head-scratcher, but not exactly what I was expecting. This is a safe situation. 2-0 the lead right now for the Firebirds, and they will turn to Jake Song, a 5'11" out of Thousand Oaks, California from UCLA. A 1-2 record this year, but here's the number that pops off the page at you. A 6.52 ERA in 7 appearances. He has allowed as many earned runs, 9 strikeouts, but 6 walks, and he is going to be the man responsible for facing the Mariners with the top of the order up and the tying run at the plate.
Granted, he is the one Firebird on this active roster with a save recorded so far this season with guys departing, but certainly with the numbers here, we'll have to see how this one plays out.
So a lot of confidence being placed in the southpaw from UCLA. The Bruin checks the runner, brings home the first pitch, and Levens is swinging and fouls this away. Count starts at 0-1.
And an interesting note here on Som, shortest guy on this Firebirds in this bullpen for them, 5'11", the only pitcher for Orleans that is under 6 feet.
Yep, so more of a classic crafty lefty as he will bring home the 0-1. And this one is taken out into left field. This one's going to toe the line if it gets down, but it will not. Finds its way into the glove of Bolger for out number 1.
Well, you're happy to get the out, but it was a loud out, as Levens had a pretty good piece of contact that one out onto left. Good hustle from Bolger out there to track it down.
Yep, so that will bring up Chris Newell, and this is where Harwich has been making their money. This part of the order, including Tatum Levens, but also Chris Newell, Brock Wilkin, Carter Putz, and Josh Hood. If they can get to those guys, you like Harwich's chances, but it's all going to be about keeping the inning going and preferably keeping that out count to 1. Som sets, brings home the first pitch. Once again, swinging to the first pitch he sees and hitting it high and deep to right is Chris Newell. Back to the track, to the wall. It is gone. 2-run home run for Chris Newell, and this game is tied.
Crack the pepper. Chris Newell, second home run bomb in 3 games. How about it?
Colin, or Chris, Tim, we have seen this a time or two before. A weather delay, and the team that is trailing finds a way to come back. And oh yeah, by the way, now you have Brock Wilkin at the plate with 1 out, who represents the go-ahead run. That was a shot. Tough to see it in the fog, but you could tell based on the outfielders' positions that that thing was not landing in the ballpark. First pitch to Wilkin, strike 1.
That was a really well-struck ball. I mean, you could kind of tell off the bat that he had a really nice angle on it. Good exit velocity. Really everything going on that hit for Chris Newell, and he's displaying a lot of power here so far for the Mariners these past few games.
Next pitch will miss down to Brock Wilkin. Count goes to 1-1. And if there's one guy you want at the plate right now who could potentially take this from a tie game to a lead, it's Brock Wilkin. Again, leads the team in home runs so far this season. Probably not going to be given anything close. Here comes the 1-1. That'll miss outside. No, they say strike two. Wilkin can't believe it. Count goes to 1-2.
And another note on Newell there, this is the 5th straight game that he's played in that he's come across to score. Did not play in that Brewster game where Harwich got shut out.
Things aren't going to get a lot easier if he can get through Wilkin. Carter Putz stands on deck, the 1-2. That'll miss down and in. Count even at 2 apiece here. And we kind of called it. You know, Jake saw him. Numbers a little bit shaky coming into this one. They have a lot of confidence. They throw him out there, and he gives up a 2-run shot to Chris Newell. So Wilkin digs in. 2-2 the count. Here comes the pitch. And that one's going to be chopped down the third base line, but foul.
Yeah, you got to be careful here with Wilkin if you're Psalm. Certainly don't want to leave anything over the plate, but you understand Wilkin also a guy who knows how to draw a walk. So you definitely don't want to have him on first, however, for Putz to come on.
Yeah, rough day at the plate here for Brock Wilkin. 0 for 3 at double play and 2 strikeouts. He is due for a big hit. He will foul this one off to the right side. Count stays at 2-2. Day is done for Nathan Florence. The book does close on him. Goes 2/3 of an inning. Gives up the 1 run on no hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And again, Jake Somm giving up the run that allows Harwich to even this up. 2-2 to Wilkin. This is outside. Count goes full.
And I think some of the Orleans faithful who are still in town thought that that one had just caught the plate. It was close on that outside portion, but nice patience there from Wilkin, showing it off once again.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away here in the bottom of the 8th. Tie ball game. Brock Wilkin at the plate. The payoff pitch, lunged at and fouled away. We'll do it again.
And here's once again that trademark for these Mariners, really all season long. It's just recently that the bats have really been coming to life, but all year long they have been patient. They've been fouling off balls. They've been taking balls that have missed the zone, and it's finally coming to fruition. They're getting on base, and they're now hitting the ball well.
See if Brock Wilkin can keep the inning alive here for the Mariners. Another payoff pitch on the way in just a moment from Jake Somm. Here it comes. And he will watch that, but it's going to be called strike 3. Brock Wilkin can't believe it, and that is going to be his 3rd K of the day. That'll bring up Carter Putz.
Yeah, his 3rd one looking too. That's frustrating for Wilkin, a guy who normally is able to get a good look at the ball. Really, all 3 strikeouts, just couldn't get the right read on it.
And now we've got a meeting on the mound, and this could be the end of the line. This will be the end of the line for Jake Somm. So he gets brought on, gives up a 2-run home run, strikes out Brock Wilkin, and his day is done. We will step away, but when we come back, Carter Putz at the dish. We'll get an update on the new pitcher here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley. We are bringing you a tied game, and it took some time and some effort to get here, persevering through a fog delay, and Harwich bringing it back with a 2-run home run by Chris Newell. So 2 away in the inning for Carter Putz. The new pitcher on the bump is Michael Polk, the righty out of Milton, Georgia. Attendee of the University of Georgia, 4.15 ERA for him this year, 8 2/3 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, 6 walks, and the righty's first offering will miss just off the inside part of the plate for ball 1 here to Carter Putz.
Well, if you're Harwich, you want to jump on this guy again out of the gate. You've seen a lot of different relievers at this point. Orleans is reaching deep into their bullpen. You want to try and do some damage, make it really hurt for this game.
1-0, left down low, count goes to 2-0 here on Carter Putz. And you know, this is still a good spot in the order. Obviously, you only have 1 out left to give, but you've got Carter Putz, Josh Hood, and Press Kavanaugh. Your 3 due up here for the Mariners. They could still find 1 more run out of this. Try to take the lead, the 2-0. That's going to be swung on, a little swinging bunt. This might work out, though, for Putz, who hustles down the first base line. Throw is there, and they say in time. I don't know about that, but that's the call, and that will end the 8th, but not before Chris Newell pulls Harwich level with a 2-run shot over the right field fence. We will step away, and when we come back, we got 1 more inning of baseball, folks. Don't miss it here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley, and a great situation here for Harwich. Owen Cody enters the game looking to, for the 2nd time this season, come into a game after the game ends up getting tied after a weather delay to, at the very least, try to preserve a tie here. Obviously, Harwich would get their at-bats here in the bottom of the 9th, but if you're Owen Cody, you're looking to come in and get 3 outs. Worst case scenario, if that happens, Harwich gets out of here with a much-needed point and is just a half a game out of 2nd place on the YD Red Sox.
Yeah, came in that moment you mentioned in an inning in relief at Wareham after that delay. Only gave up the 1 hit, didn't walk anybody, didn't strike anybody out, didn't give up any runs. On the season, though, his numbers have looked really good across each of his appearances. Taking a look at his numbers here, Cody has not given a single earned run up across 7 innings pitched. He's only given up 1 hit. He struck out 14. He's striking out 2 per inning.
Yeah, and for a guy that the scouting report coming into us this year is Corey Acton will try to keep his revenge game going, and he might just do it. It's going to be a slow dribble. It'll be picked up on the run by Preisner. Throw to first in time. Zach Preisner with a great piece of defense there makes the throw, and that is out number 1.
That's so huge for this Harwich defense. I mean, Preisner stepping up in a big moment where you know he's capable of doing that, charging in and making a tough throw. That was about as tight as it could have been. Call could have gone either way, and you would have had to have seen which way it went, but nice job by Preisner making the throw over there, giving his team a chance here to hold on to this tie in the top of the inning.
And we will get an at-bat here for Tyler Locklear. It's a pinch hit appearance as Locklear comes in for Trey Harmon, excuse me, and that's an interesting call here.
Well, I believe what it was that last time around, Harmon was on first base and Locklear pinch ran for him.
And of course,
Locklear took his spot in the lineup.
Yes, and of course the difference between the NCAA and the Cape Cod Baseball League, my mistake, no courtesy runner for anybody. So it was a straight-up pinch runner, and that means he has to come up to hit. So good catch there by Tim. The 2-1 from Cody, and that is off the foot of Locklear. So that'll put the go-ahead run aboard here with one away for Justin Mickness.
Yeah, you don't see that too often from Cody. He usually has pretty good command over his pitches. He's going to be a pinch hitter here for Orleans.
Yep, it looks like coming in here for the Firebirds, Garrett Guillamente. So Guillamente getting his first at bat for Justin Mickness, who is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. A good spot here. Again with the go-ahead run on first. Owen Cody going to have to shake that one off. First pitch he brings home. Good stop there by Tatum Levens.
That is a huge stop. That ball was halfway by Levens, and he snatched his glove out to his left to somehow grab that thing when it was nearly past his body. Big heads-up grab to prevent the runner from advancing to second.
So Guillamente digs in with a 1-0 count. Cody looking to settle in and get 2 more outs. And I was going to mention it before. The scouting report we got on Owen Cody was kind of, he's going to fill up the strike zone. He's going to trust his defense. He's not a high-volume strikeout guy. Then Owen Cody showed up on the Cape and, well, started striking out every other batter that he faced. So he has kind of settled in the absence of Aaron Holiday, who went in the Major League Baseball, or in the MLB draft just a couple of days ago. He's become the de facto closer for this team. He gets a swing and a miss at a high fastball. 1-2 the count now on Guillamente.
And he's really thrived in this role. I mean, we've given you his numbers, and he's looked as every bit as good as those numbers indicate while out there. He certainly passes the eye test.
Cody's 1-2. Fouled away, we'll do it again. Take a look at what Owen Cody has to work with. You mentioned the Penn product, a fastball that'll come in between. Our scout said 87 to 88. That last pitch was 91. His velocity has been pumped up even a little bit more than what we were anticipating before the season began, and he pairs it with a nasty curveball changeup combination. Cody sets the 1-2. Runner goes on a delayed steal, and it's fouled away, so he'll have to turn around and head back for first.
I mean, I like the call if you're Orleans. There's only 1 out, and this is a tight game. You need to get a guy in scoring position because 1 run could very well be the difference here, and it's tough to get that run against a guy in Cody.
For what it's worth, Ben Blackwell is standing in the on-deck circle right now for the Firebirds. He is, as of right now, going to be the man due up. His time is granted to Tatum Levens, it looks like, behind the plate. And the count goes, or rather stays, here at 1-2. Cody looking for a strikeout. The only thing better would be a double play. Right now, Hal Hughes and Zach Preisner at double play depth. Here comes the 1-2 pitch, and that one's going to be swung on and taken high in the air. This drifting into that Bermuda Triangle, tracking it in from right field, and making the catch is Jordan Beck, 2 away.
I mean, that fog, we're out of the delay, but it is still present because I in the booth could not track that ball whatsoever. I'm glad that Beck had a better read on it than I did out in right.
Now we're kind of just keeping an eye on the fielders and seeing where everybody ends up. So 2 away here. Owen Cody looking for 1 more out. It'll be Ben Blackwell, who is coming up and keeping his 9-hole in the lineup. A strikeout, a walk, and a flyout for him today. And a dangerous part of the Firebirds lineup due up next with the top of the order looming on deck. Cody's first pitch, swing and a miss. He breezes a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right by the bat of Blackwell.
And you have to remember, if you're Harwich, you're able to record this out. You get a point out of this no matter what. You head to the bottom of the 9th, the worst that can happen is a tie, no extras.
And the best that could happen is the first walk-off of the season for the M's, but you got to get the out first. Swing and a miss, another fastball, this time at 91, and Owen Cody is pumping in fastballs for strikes right now. Guys just unable to catch up. So Owen Cody will settle in now. Runner on first does represent the go-ahead for the Firebirds. The 0-2, runner goes. Swing and a miss, strike 3. It does not matter. Ben Blackwell retired on Owen Cody's only strikeout of the night. And to the bottom of the 9th we go. Harwich with a chance to walk it off when we come back. You're watching here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back to White House Field. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley back for one final half inning of action. Tim, what a game we've been treated to. Let's run it down. Here is how we got here. Scoreless pitchers duel through 6 innings. In the 7th, again, through no fault of Alex Rayo, breaks just did not go his way. Gives up 2 runs, only one of them earned. The other got on base on a double that was basically a pop fly to center, and that put the Firebirds up 2-0. Harwich was able to come back a little bit, but couldn't scratch anything across. Then we entered a fog delay, and as it has been all season long, the team that was trailing going into the fog or rain comes out of it with a big hit, and it came in the form of a Chris Newell 2-run home run. So here's where we are now. Michael Polk out to pitch another inning here for the Firebirds. His first offering will miss inside to Josh Hood. Hood so far today, 1 for 3, a double and 2 strikeouts for the recent draft pick. Taken but not signed so far by the Boston Red Sox. The 1-0 pitch. That'll miss out. Well, looked like it missed outside. That's kind of what Hood thought too. Not 100% sure on that one, but it's going to even the count at 1-1.
Yeah, he certainly thought he had it, but a nice pitch placed on just the outside part of the plate by Michael Polk to even out the count.
So Polk having the confidence right now. Big swing and a miss there. Hood tried to make a pay. Instead, he comes up empty and falls behind 1-2.
Yeah, he was trying to end the game with that swing of the bat. That was a home run cut from Josh Hood, because now he knows he can hit him, especially in this park, so he was trying to do it once more.
Yep, Josh Hood already left the yard once during this 2-game homestand. Can he do it again? This one misses low and away, well past the glove of the new catcher, Guillamense, who came in as a pinch hitter for Mickness, keeps his spot on the defense, and the count goes to 2-2. Again, more than likely, not anticipating we'll see any pinch hitters here for Harwich. Only 2 guys eligible off the bench anyway. Unless somebody wants to make their debut right now. The 2-2 swung on, and it's a laser right into the diving glove of Blackwell. Another excellent defensive stop, and that is going to keep a runner off the base pass. What a snag out there at shortstop. That is just an excellent play by Ben Blackwell.
Yeah, nothing you can do if you're Josh Hood but tip your cap. He's clearly frustrated after having that one stolen from him, but we've seen some excellent baseball on display in this game, and it just continues with that nice diving catch made by Blackwell.
And we noted, Ben Blackwell kept his spot in the lineup. He struck out. The last hope for the Orleans Firebirds, but you got to think, keeping his glove in the field has now kept the go-ahead potential game-winning run off the base pass for the Mariners, and that brings up Press Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh will be hit by the first pitch that he sees. How about that? Michael Polk, after getting bailed out by his defense, is going to put that runner right where he would have been. 1 away. Go-ahead game-winning run on first for Jordan Beck.
I know we've been talking about guys who are trying to break into the league, and this is a good spot for Beck here. He's gotten on once already with a walk, struck out twice, and now in a big moment trying to bring around the game-winning run.
And that game-winning run now represented by Jake Lazaro, who goes out to run for Press Kavanaugh. And I'll tell you what, you've got special speed in Lazaro when you take your left fielder out of the game for someone who you think is faster. We've seen the kind of speed Kavanaugh has, but Lazaro is the man they bring in. So Jordan Beck at the plate, first pitch, he's swinging, fouls it away, count goes to 0-1. I wouldn't put it past Coach Englert here to send the runner. You put him in scoring position. I mean, again, the worst case scenario, you come out of this thing with a tie and a point, which is more than you would have had about an inning and a half ago.
Certainly. I mean, anything to get Polk on the mound back on his heels a bit. Get the mental side of this game in your favor.
So here we go. Lazaro stands on first. Not running. Strike 2 taken by Jordan Beck, who falls behind here 0-2. Michael Polk back in control of this at bat. Zach Preisner standing on deck. It would be Hal Hughes, who led off the 8th inning and scored the first run on that 2-run home run. Up next if Harwich can get to him. Again, no extras here in the CCBL in 2021. Runner does not go. This ball lifted high in the air out to center field. Coming in is DeLauder. He'll settle under it and make the catch for out number 2. So that will bring up Zach Preisner. Again, wearing number 4 for the first time today. He is 0 for 3, 2 groundouts and a strikeout. He represents the final hope for the Mariners to pick up their first walk-off win of the season.
Yeah, this is another guy for Harwich who's been trying to break back into it here. Hasn't had the greatest success at the plate as of late. And no better time to break a slump.
Right now, a little half-hearted check swing, fouled away. Count goes to 0-1. He'll fall behind, but Lazaro not taking too big of a lead on first. You get the feeling, even though he does represent that go-ahead run, he's not getting any special attention right now from Michael Polk. Taking a pretty reasonable lead off first.
No, you really just want to focus on the batter in the box.
Here he goes. There will be a throw down to second. It's low, and there it is. Harwich moves the game-winning run up 90 feet. Jake Lazaro now in scoring position, but an 0-2 count on Zach Preisner.
I mean, that's heads-up base running. That's a good call by the Harwich dugout. You want to put that guy in scoring position. You don't want to have to rely on having to get 2 hits to bring around that runner from first. You put him on second, and if you have Preisner now, just needs a single into the outfield with a guy like Lazaro on second. You have to like your odds of him coming around to score.
Zach Preisner due for a big hit. Again, 0 for 3 today with a strikeout, the 0-2. And that is going to miss down and away. So he takes that pitch from Michael Polk. The situation has changed here, obviously, for Polk. Now just trying to preserve the 1 point for Orleans. And even though this would be a tie, if that's the result, it would feel a lot better for the Mariners than it would for the Firebirds. The 1-2. That'll miss low as well. Cheers coming right now from the Harwich dugout, and it's a 2-2 count on Zach Preisner.
That's a nice take at 1 and 2 to be able to hold off and see that thing just miss low and away. Really nice take there by Preisner.
Preisner's been very defensive after falling behind 0-2. He's got the game-winning run on second base in Jake Lazaro, the 2-2. And it's fouled away. He fights it off. Count stays right where it is. Of course, the dangerous thing right now, Michael Polk still has a pitch to waste with a 2-2 count. The one thing you really don't want to do is strike out looking to end the game. Zach Preisner, the Notre Dame product, going to do everything in his power to avoid that fate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Michael Polk checks the runner back to second, brings home the pitch. It's fouled off again, and you can hear the Harwich dugout starting to try to pump up Zach Preisner.
Another trademark battle for these Mariners, and what is likely the biggest at-bat of the season so far. A tie game against an Eastern Division opponent, about to head into an off day that's going to affect how the team kind of recollects themselves and gets ready to continue the season.
Harwich coming into this one at 9-7-2, looking for their 10th victory of the season, which would draw them level with the YD Red Sox. The 2-2 pitch, that'll miss upstairs. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I mean, that's an easier take there if you're Preisner. You see that ball coming up high, and you have a pretty good look at a couple of these pitches now. You know what's what, so he sees the fastball going high, understands that's nothing he wants any part of.
Nothing that's going to delay the game, but some thick fog starting to set in from the right side of the field. The payoff pitch in the dirt, ball 4. That run is of little to no consequence right now, obviously, for the Harwich Mariners with 2 away in the bottom of the 9th. But it does get Hal Hughes to the plate. Hughes reached on a walk back in the 8th, and again, this is the guy with more experience and more Cape League at-bats than probably anybody left in the CCBL. And now Kelly Nicholson is going to come out and have a word with his pitcher, and that's it. So it's going to be a bit of a risky call here. They're going to go to the bullpen and bring somebody new in to face Hal Hughes. We'll tell you who it is after the break here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back to baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Tyler Henry, Tim Foley bringing you a nail-biter from White House Field. The Harwich Mariners have the potential walk-off run on second. Again, no extra innings in the Cape League this year, so worst-case scenario, this ends in a tie. But after a walk issued by Michael Polk, Kelly Nicholson goes to the bullpen, and the guy that he pulls, Arizona State product Nick Wallerstad, who did pitch against the Mariners last time out, but didn't look very good. Granted, it was a game that didn't matter, an 8-0 lead at the time for the Firebirds. Wallerstad pitched the final inning. He gave up 1 run on 1 hit, 2 walks, no strikeouts for him. He is now called upon to get 1 out of Hal Hughes. And Tim, you get the feeling a part of this, maybe they wanted a different or another right-handed arm here to face Hughes. But either way, Hal Hughes digs in, and here we go. Harwich Mariners fans, what little remain here at White House Field after a long fog delay. Clapping it up, Hughes offers at the first pitch he sees, and he fouls it away, 0-1 the count.
Yeah, trying to get a feel for that first pitch. I mean, goes after it at 92. I mean, I like being aggressive here. We've seen it often with these first pitches and these first at-bats from these relievers that have often resulted in hits.
Wallerstad comes set. Again, Harwich looking for 1 more run here in the bottom of the 9th and a tie ball game. The 0-1 in there for a called strike, and for what it's worth, Nick Wallerstad has looked a lot better since that first outing. He comes in here with a 1.13 ERA, 11 strikeouts, only 3 walks through 8 innings of work, and he is 1 strike away from preserving the tie for the Orleans Firebirds. Hal Hughes going to have to be defensive here. The 0-2. Fouled off, and that's exactly what you'd expect out of Hughes, who stays alive.
Another 92. This time it's upstairs to try and blow it by Hughes. Really nice job to be able to track that thing up high. It's not always easy to do it when it's up around your eyes.
Of course, there is also, if a pitch is down in the dirt and gets past, Lazaro could move up 90 feet. Again, he is the only run that matters for the Mariners. But an 0-2 count. Wallerstad's pitch, both runners go. It's fouled off. So a little hit and run action here for Harwich. Down to their final strike.
Yeah, I don't know how many takes we're going to see from Hal Hughes here.
My guess would be not many. Hughes, again, has been hitting in big spots for Harwich, but the numbers consistently have not quite been there this season. But these are the kinds of moments where Hughes tends to thrive. Wallerstad looks the runner back to second. Another 0-2 swing and a miss. He got him. And Hal Hughes goes down swinging to end this game. But Harwich battles back from the brink. They will walk out of here with a much-needed point and gain some ground in the Eastern standings. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up for you. You're watching Harwich Mariners Baseball here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Welcome back one last time. Here to wrap things up, Tyler Henry, joined here on the postgame show by Colin Casey. And Colin, it does end in a 2-2 tie. You look at the box score without any context at all, you think, well, kind of disappointing. Harwich still doesn't get that winning streak, but that's not how this game is going to feel. Harwich, despite having a tie in this one, this is one of those feel-good ties, similar to what they got at Wareham, and they continue chugging along in the East.
Yeah, certainly one of those feel-good ties. The big game-tying home run, 2-run shot in the bottom of the 8th inning from Chris Newell, his second of the year. We wouldn't have gotten that if they had called the game due to that lengthy fog delay. We had 2 fog delays tonight, and I'm really happy that we were able to play a full 9-inning game in this one. Great game between two teams that have played some really good baseball against each other this season. The Orleans Firebirds still a thorn in the Mariners' side. The Mariners now 0-2-1 against them this year. Good news is they'll have one more opportunity here and one more opportunity on the road to avenge those losses and this tie tonight against Orleans this season.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, Colin. I believe the Orleans Firebirds are the only team in the league Harwich has yet to beat at some point this season.
Yeah, I believe you're right. I don't think there's been any other. Oh, that's not true, actually. Brewster, they're 0-2
you are correct.
the Whitecaps this season. In fact, they haven't been able to score a run against the Whitecaps this season, so they're probably sick of facing Brewster. But it still keeps that streak going for the Mariners, where they haven't lost at home in 7 games. They've been really tough to beat at White House Field, and that can be really important down the stretch if they want to battle for a playoff spot in a really tight Eastern Division.
Yep, most definitely. So final numbers look like this. Just a couple to give you. Another great outing for Trey Dombrowski. 6 innings pitched. He gives up no runs on 3 hits. 7 strikeouts, not a single walk. Still looks phenomenal so far this season. Owen Cody comes in and picks up what I believe should probably be a hold, but that is not the way that it's ruled. Obviously with a tie, no win, no loss, and no save. Final numbers in the box score look like this. The Orleans Firebirds, 2 runs on 6 hits, 1 error, 7 runners left on base. For the Mariners, just about identical. 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error, and 7 runners left on base. The Mariners will have a much-deserved off day. They have not been off since last Tuesday, so more than a full week of baseball action. The grind will come to a halt, at least for a brief moment. And on the other side of it, for the Harwich Mariners, things are not going to get any easier, but they have been responding very well. Taking a look at the schedule, after the off day, it'll be a trip to Hyannis and then a home game against Falmouth before back-to-back road stint against Chatham and YD. That'll be it for us. For Tyler Henry, for my broadcast partner Tim Foley, for Colin Casey taking care of all of our social media work, our producer Matt Lucy, and everybody else that makes these games possible. And to say thank you for tuning in. Have a good night, and we will see you on Friday night on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network.